Grace and peace, everybody. We up in this building. Grace and peace, we're back. You did not see a thumbnail. You did not see a title. This is an impromptu live stream. I just wanted to get on here and talk. I got a whole bunch of videos that I got to do. And I figured I'm going to do it differently today. I haven't done this before. I'm just going to do live reactions to the videos that I was going to do a reaction to. But before we get too far afield, I want to say thank you so much for jumping in. I know this, again, you probably didn't even get a notification on it, but I do appreciate y'all nonetheless jumping up in here on today. I'm just double check, make sure it sounds good on the YouTube and make sure everything is popping off correctly. Thank y'all so much. Everybody who jumped in, say what's up. Jump into the best live chat on the internet. Say what's up. Say hello to your peoples. Good to see y'all. Hopefully I sound good. Let me know. Let me know. Do I sound okay? Albeit I just jumped in. You didn't even get a warning, a notification. I'm over here just chatting it up. But we're going to go over a couple of videos. I do want to talk about some things that we have going on this week, which is, this is the week, if you all remember, I actually started this channel on September 11th of 2021. And so this Thursday will be my 4-year anniversary. I don't think I'm going to stream on Thursday, but I might. I was going to do like a little anniversary show, but I might save it to Saturday just so I have more time. It depends on what the wife has going on and if I have something to do on Thursday. But I plan to either Thursday or Saturday do a 4-year anniversary live stream. Maybe I'll look at one of my first videos I put up, because I went back and looked at it, albeit they were pretty good. They were good in the respect that I was shooting them in a studio. My first video I shot, some of my first videos I shot in a studio, and they're pretty good. Now, later on, when I came back here and started doing them in the house and I didn't have this set up here, they are pretty, they're pretty janky. But I digress there. So I'll be doing that on Thursday or this Saturday. I'll make sure you know ahead of time. Tomorrow, I have Mademoiselle from the wonderful YouTube channel, the content creator who went to FDMG and walked around FDMG. Remember her bubbly personality? She was going around. She did a really great job of explaining the history of Umar Johnson and all of that. And then, of course, what's FDMG looking like now? Of course, tons of other people have gone to the school, walked around, did drone footage and such like that. But I just thought her video was super encouraging and super dope. Anyway, tomorrow she's going to be coming on the show, and we are going to read some of the most ridiculous comments that we have found defending Umar Johnson and trying to call out his haters, if you will. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that is September 10th, 8 o'clock Central Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go through that, and I've got a couple surprises, but that's going to be fun. And the comments that she sent me were out of this world. Like, you got to be kidding me. So we will be doing that on tomorrow. So make sure that, now that link is already up and the banner has already been made available to you. So definitely make sure you check that out as well. Today, I have a couple, actually got quite a few videos I want to go through. I was going to do a reaction to them, but I found some other content creators had already talked about it. And I said, they did a good job. So let's just look at what they're talking about. Well, I just got a couple of things I want to riff off of. We have a Black conservative perspective. Shout out to, he is an excellent content creator. I get so much from him, glean a lot from him. We have Paralegal Institute, outstanding content creator. And then, of course, we got Decoy Voice as well. So they've been on the channel before. We've looked at some of their stuff before, and we'll be looking at quite a few of them on this evening, just to kind of clear through some of the things, move some things around in the traps, if you will. Got to clear out some of these traps here. I'm trying to see which one I have first. Let's see what this one is first. Paralegal. Looks like Paralegal. I got one of Paralegals first. But I do want to say thank y'all so much for jumping in. Hello to everybody. Jump into the best live chat on the internet. Let's get going. Let's make it happen.
Map stays as is, then the 33rd becomes very much like my wife's county commissioner's district, which would be a majority Hispanic district in Dallas County. And we've never had a Hispanic represent Dallas County in Congress.
I've spoken with Mark. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do. If he chooses not to run for 33, then I'm definitely going to run for 33.
So if I hear you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're actually debating about whether to run in a different district than 30?
I'm debating about whether or not I would run where they put me, which is where I live. Yeah.
In 33.
In 33.
Y'all, this is about to be, this is going to be good, y'all. And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today.
And so real quick, this is Jasmine Crockett's district in Texas. Because of the way they've drawn the lines, Jasmine Crockett is no longer the shoe-in, the heir apparent. She's going to have to work for this position. Let's see what happens. Let's go. Shout out to Paralegal Institute. And by the way, every video that we're looking at today is listed down in the description. Shout out to editor Jason.
Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day, y'all. Now, y'all, today I saw a breakdown of what's happening in Texas post redistricting. And I wanted to bring y'all this information because I'm almost sure that you don't know, but you're probably like, can Jasmine Crockett really lose? Because, you know, Jasmine Crockett, she's one of the, well, maybe we should say the loudest mouths. One of the loudest mouths in Congress right now. One of the biggest mouths. I don't know. You know what I mean, right? So she's getting a lot of attention. And a lot of people are wondering, after this redistricting, might she really lose? Might she be out of the public eye forever? Might this redistricting in Texas force Jasmine Crockett away from Congress such that we never have to hear from her again? And I'm going to tell y'all today, we're going to break it down. It is a bit of a sit back, relax, y'all. So if you haven't sat back and relaxed, go ahead and sit back and relax, because we're going to be breaking this down for you today. We have some maps we're going to show you. It's going to be very entertaining, though, y'all. I promise. We have some maps that we're going to show you. And also, you're going to see some of the people, at least two people, who are Democrats in Texas who have been subject to redistricting, who are also going to very likely be gunning for the exact same congressional seats that Jasmine Crockett wants. So that's why this is a video about the contentiousness, the contentiosity that this redistricting is going to generate and has already generated among the Democrats. And you're going to see how these Democrats, they all want the same thing, but they can't all have it. So what I'm going to do, y'all, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start off with this report that's going to show you some of the changes in the map, okay? And you're going to hear from 3 different Democrats that all want the same thing, but there's a 4th Democrat who was not interviewed here. So there are 4 different Texas Democrats who all want the same 1 or 2 seats. Somebody's got to go, y'all. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all.
Okay, so Paralegal, shout out to him, man. He does a great job, and shout out to his sponsor. And I think that's a great point. There are a lot of people that want this position, and they're playing musical chairs. And if you ever played musical chairs when you were in elementary school or grade school, you remember there's always one more person than there are chairs. And so this is going to be a very interesting race. I think I'm more interested in how this pans out than actually how this pans out than actually who gets the seat. This is going to be fun to watch. But anyway, that's going to be super important to pay attention to that. And this is happening in other places as well, but I think Texas is big. Let's go.
Maps in Texas that will likely turn 5 Democratic seats over to the Republicans in time for next year's midterm elections. There are now 4 big-name Democrats eyeing one of the newly drawn congressional districts. They include former LULAC National President Domingo Garcia, who's also a former Dallas City Council member and state representative.
There we go.
The current congressman for this district, Mark Vesey, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Dallas, and Congresswoman Julie Johnson of Farmers Branch. They're considering running in the new 33rd Congressional District, which will now only be in Dallas County and have a majority of Latinos. Currently, it's in both Dallas County and Tarrant County.
Look how they drew that map. That map is crazy. Wow.
Which is where Congressman Vesey lives. His home, though, will now be outside of this new district. Congressman Vesey says he's still considering whether to run in the new district or somewhere else in next year's midterm elections.
So y'all, since this video is based on Jasmine Crockett, we're going to focus mostly on her, but you are going to hear from these other representatives who want to take her spot, and she wants to take their spot. So y'all, what you're seeing right now is the current 30th district. This is where Jasmine Crockett lives, and this is the district that she represents currently. But this district is being redrawn. So now, y'all, for the next election, Jasmine Crockett's house is now going to be in 33, but she currently represents 30. So she has to make this decision. Does she continue to try to represent 30 while she lives in 33? Because remember, they just redrew these maps such that her house, which is now in 30, is going to be in 33 next time. But she doesn't represent 33.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is also considering a run in the 33rd Congressional District, and that's because her home is now in this district and not in the district she represents now, the neighboring 30th Congressional District, which includes a larger part of Tarrant County and will include a majority of African Americans.
To come in. So, for me, I'm going to get to polling because I feel confident I can win wherever I run. I do, but ultimately, I'm trying to get a pulse on the district, right? So I ended up with 200,000 additional people into 30. They are all coming from Tarrant County. I know nothing about those 200,000 people, whereas where I live, obviously about 200,000 of us are still where I currently live, along with a lot of the old 100 as well as a lot of the old 30, going all the way to that eastern portion, getting that Pleasant Grove. Some of that they got thrown into 32. So, it's about kind of, does Mark Vesey fit better into 30 now because it does have some Tarrant or not? And does Julie just kind of fit better at running in 33 than me? And is my district going to be okay with me running and being on this fixed government income and therefore not buying a home in the newly constructed 30? Obviously, I don't have to live there under federal rules.
Right.
But some people want somebody that lives in the district, but obviously the vast majority of this district I have represented without actually living in the portions that they've left in 30.
Before they jump in there, I think that's a big deal. That whole you don't live where you represent, and it's gone all the way down to the macro level. To the micro level, all the way up to the federal level. I don't know. I think that we should probably maybe encourage our leaders to live in the communities that they actually represent, whether it be in this respect, your congressman or maybe your mayors and stuff like that. It is pretty well known that we have leaders that don't live in the communities and are not affected by a lot of the things that they are pushing in their particular communities that they represent because they don't live there. But I just think that was just something interesting. Let's go.
So if I hear you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're actually debating about whether to run in a different district than 30?
I'm debating about whether or not I would run where they put me, which is where I live. Yeah.
In 33?
In 33.
The U.S. Constitution says members of Congress must be residents in the state they represent, not in the specific districts that they serve.
So now everybody, because of the demographics of 33, all the Democrats are looking at 33 like, ooh, I think I could win 33, right? And so this is where all of the fighting is going to be coming from, okay? 33.
Domingo Garcia told us if the new maps are not reversed by the courts and are upheld, he'll strongly consider jumping into the primary for this seat.
If the map stays as is, then the 33rd becomes very much like my wife's county commissioner's district, which would be a majority Hispanic district in Dallas County. And we've never had a Hispanic represent Dallas County in Congress, or North Texas for that matter, in the entire history of Texas.
And so you're looking at it?
We're looking at it. We're going to see what is the final map and then make a final decision.
And y'all don't look at Mr. Garcia like he's a chump. Mr. Garcia, he's ready to fight. Mr. Garcia came out saying, look, we not no pansies, man. We ready to fight. He called out the Democrats for being too soft. And he said, it's time to get our fight on. So,
and why is this something that you're considering if
I want to back up something. Shout out to Paralegal Institute. Check out his channel. When Democrats say we need to fight, F-I-G-H-T, what do they mean? What do they actually mean? Because me as a conservative, as a non-Democrat supporting person, I see fighting and in this respect of sharing your political ideas and duking them out in the marketplace and sharing the idea. What does the fight mean for them? Because I never hear them actually talking about their platforms. I never hear them talking about what they want to do, the ideas that they hold, and such of that nature. I just hear them talking about fighting. And not mad at Mr. Garcia over here. Shout out to him and that great mustache. However, what do you mean when you say fight? Anyway, that was just something I noticed, and I've heard this a lot. We'll hear it a lot tonight.
The map stays as is. Why is it something that you're considering?
Because I think it's very important that we send a fighter to Congress to take on the Trump administration and the unconstitutional, illegal things they're doing. And I think some of the national leadership of the Democratic Party has frankly just been too soft, too conciliatory, and you got to stand up for American rights and for our values and what the Statue of Liberty stands for, as opposed to those that are trying to tear those values down.
So now, y'all, that might be who Jasmine Crockett has to go up against. Mr. Garcia, who's ready to get his fight on. And you already know the Democrats have been saying that they love Jasmine Crockett because they consider her a fighter. Could that be the fight that's shaping up? Mr. Domingo Garcia versus Jasmine Crockett. Remember, she's currently in 30 and she represents 30. She currently lives in 30 and she represents where she lives as of today. But in the new map, her house is going to be in 33, but she represents 30. So she has to decide, do I go ahead and, since my house is moving to a new district, I'm not moving, but they're redrawing the line and they're putting my house in a different district. Should I also say, hey, okay, I'm going to run in 33 now? If so, she might have to go up against Mr. Domingo Garcia. But Mr. Domingo Garcia is not the only person who's looking at 33. You also have another representative. I told you there were 4 and that you're going to see 3 of them in this video. And Mr. VC, he's not in this video, but you're going to see another representative who's also looking at 33, y'all. So you can see how this is starting to get tight. And they say, yeah, we're having conversations behind closed doors. All of y'all can't win. All of y'all can't win, most likely. I mean, you can't predict the future. But when you're deciding where to run, you certainly are not going to say, let me run where I have the least chance of winning, right? So these conversations, maybe they're cordial, but aren't they fighters? You know, do fighters have cordial conversations? I don't know, y'all. But there's another person, a third person, a fourth person who's looking to possibly run in 33.
Democratic Congresswoman Julie Johnson of Farmers Branch says she's also eyeing the 33rd Congressional District because her current seat is one of those likely turning Republican. That district will extend to East Texas under the new map. Since you're making some predictions about congressional seats, what do you think is going to happen with Congresswoman Julie Johnson? Because she's got a decision to make. Does she run in 32 under the new map if it's approved, which would become a Republican majority district, or does she have to challenge Congressman Vesey, whose district would move solely in Dallas County?
Yeah, I think that we will hopefully work it out about who runs where. Obviously, both of them are now in Republican districts. No one currently resides in 30, and then I reside in 33. So I think it is a matter of kind of us talking about what's what, while also recognizing that because there is new territory, there also may be new contenders.
So what does Julie Johnson have to say about potentially running in 33? What is her claim that she could maybe win 33? Y'all, this is going to be good, y'all.
We spoke with Congresswoman Julie Johnson about why she's looking at the 33rd Congressional District.
I've spoken with Mark. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do. If he chooses not to run for 33 because his main base of support is in Fort Worth and that's no longer part of this, then I'm definitely going to run for 33. But if he chooses to run for 33, I've already made a personal decision that I'm not going to primary Mark Vesey. And so I think Democrats need to be able to get it together and put our resources on a general election. And if that happens, I might look at 24. I don't know what I'm going to do, but right now I have a strong look at 33, and that's probably where I'm going to end up.
So if you're going to run against in the 24th Congressional District, that's a Republican seat held by Beth Van Dyne. That's going to be a tough race.
Oh yeah, it'll be a hard race. It's not something I'm unfamiliar with. When I first ran for the state legislature, I ran against a Republican incumbent and flipped that seat and beat him by 13.5 points. But, my preference is 33. That's if you you look at what is your district, and if you look at it's the people you represent or is your number. And in the new 33, I have the largest amount of people that I currently represent in that new district of any of the three of us. So, you know, Mark and I are good friends, and we're going to sort it out. And you know, we'll make our announcements whenever those decisions are final, and probably based on the finality of the maps.
Yeah, I mean, if the maps stay the same.
If they're tossed out, I'm running for 32. I'm the incumbent, and we're going to stay where we are. I love my district. I love the folks I represent. I've made some great relationships here. And so that would be my preference, is for the maps to get voided, because I do believe strongly that they are in gross violation of the Voting Rights Act, and that the legal challenges have really strong footing to do that.
But it's not just Jasmine Crockett against these people, y'all, against the other representatives. It's them against each other. It's like every man and woman for him or herself. This is shaping up to be a battle royale, you know? Like, you know how back in wrestling, you know, everybody would, you start off in a battle, you start off with a tag team, then maybe somebody switch sides, and, you know, at the end of the day, you don't know who's fighting who, every man, every woman for him or herself. That's what's shaping up here.
Now, Julie Johnson, Congresswoman from 32, said she would consider 33 if Congressman Vesey doesn't run for this district. So you'd have to, there would be a primary there, obviously.
If the map stay as is, 33rd basically becomes an open congressional seat. Julie Johnson doesn't live in the district. Mark Vesey doesn't live in the district. I live in the district. I've represented as a council member, mayor pro tem, and a state representative. I know what Oak Cliff and West Dallas need.
So sounds like you've made up your mind you would do it if the map stays the same.
Again, it just really is, it's in a state of flux.
Yeah.
But I'm setting up an exploratory committee to look at running if the maps stay as they are.
Yeah. What are you expecting to happen? Because I know, you know, the arguments have been that this is a violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Are you expecting the judge, I mean, do you think you've got a strong case to make?
Well, you know, in 2011, we actually won. LULAC won against the state of Texas, and the primaries were set from March to May, and then, you know, the runoff was in August, and I was in that runoff. So I know that the courts can change the dynamics of what the Texas legislature and Governor Abbott have done, and I expect that there's about a 50-50 chance that may change now.
And my last question is, I know you're in the battle for still over the 2021 maps.
That's correct.
Why has that taken so long? We're on year 4 already, right?
Because normally challenges in federal court with 3-judge panel, including the entire state of Texas, the second largest in the country, it's a time-consuming battle. And unfortunately, now we got not only the state of Texas with Governor Abbott and Paxton against us, but now we got the Department of Justice under Trump fighting us also. So it's an uphill battle, but it's one that we think that we can win.
So you got Julie Johnson, Domingo Garcia, Vesey, and Crockett all possibly looking at, well, they're all looking at 33. They haven't made any decisions who's going to run there. But this is just one district, y'all. Only one person can win. So 33 and 30 might be winnable, but you have 4 people who are looking, and that doesn't include anybody else who,
Republicans,
these are established people. That doesn't include the newcomers who like, hey, you know, I want to run too. So you can see that there's likely going to be a lot of fireworks. And their best bet right now, y'all, their best bet is that the courts do something and overturn these maps. That's why they keep talking about it, because they can see that this is a slow-moving disaster, and it's going to get quite contentious if these maps stand. Now, y'all, Jasmine Crockett on the national stage, she is, again, she's the most prominent nationally. But don't forget, the Democrats have rejected her. They have resoundingly rejected Jasmine Crockett. So while she has her mouth and she can, you know, make you pay attention by doing her sister girl thing and by cursing, by spitting, by saying politically incorrect things, and that draws attention. While she's doing all that, she's essentially nobody in Congress. And in case you forgot, she went for a leadership position, and the Democrats resoundingly rejected her. In case you forgot, y'all, I'm going to loop that report in right now, how she was humiliatingly rejected when she asked her Democratic colleagues to give her a real leadership position.
Now, y'all, your girl, Jasmine Crockett,
Y'all, Jasmine Crockett has been having a rough go of it. Have y'all noticed that the Democrats recently have started cursing and spitting and kind of running amok? They think that this is the way that they are best suited to confront Donald Trump. Have you noticed they've been talking about fight? I want to fight, 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 fight. Their word is fight, and their other word is the F-bomb. And Jasmine Crockett, she's like first and foremost among the Democrats who has just been potty mouthed, who has just been ratchet, who she's actually gone to the sister girl thing, if you know what I mean. And I think that she thought that doing so would ingratiate her into her party's leadership and maybe help her get into the leadership. No, was she wrong? The Democrats have roundly and resoundingly rejected Jasmine Crockett. And now a new article that came out, it was an interview with her. And she tried to shut the article down because it showed just how poorly she's doing among her own party. We can say, I don't know if kicked out of the Democratic Party, that's too strong of a term, but she was definitely resoundingly rejected. Probably because she went full loco. I mean, what better word can I use? So let's take a look at this, y'all. Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas learned a tough lesson about dealing with reporters when she tried to shut down an in-depth profile that she had agreed to do. Leftist outlet The Atlantic provides harsh, sometimes factually challenged coverage of President Donald Trump. But if Crockett thought that meant that she would get a puff piece, she was strongly mistaken. Now, y'all, they did a 3,500 word write-up on Crockett that paints her as a self-absorbed political hack. Elaine Godfrey informed her readers toward the end that 4 days before the story was published, Crockett called me to express frustration that I had reached out to so many House members without telling her first. She told me, quote, shutting down the profile and revoking all permissions. Unfortunately for the 44-year-old politician, that's not the way it works. Y'all feel so bad for Jasmine. Y'all, I know y'all don't, but I do.
I don't.
Because she's playing the game that the way her people are telling her to play it. That's what y'all have to understand. Trump says Crockett is low IQ. Crockett is not low IQ. Crockett is playing the role of low IQ because that is what the Democratic leadership apparently has decided they think is the best way to take on Trump. So Crockett has fully embodied that to the core. She's doing this as an act. She's doing this as a job, and she's doing a very good job of it to the point where people think that this is really her, and she's not being rewarded for it.
Okay, I've seen the clips. I'm sure you've seen the clips. Let's get big screen, Jason. I've seen the clips. You've seen the clips of the different vernaculars that Jasmine Crockett uses. Do you think Jasmine is playing? I want to know down in the comments right now. Do you think Jasmine is playing a role, or do you think Jasmine really is truly? Well, yeah. Do you think she's playing a role, or do you think this is really who Jasmine is? Let me know what you think down in the comments, because I personally think that the sister girl vernacular, the sister girl persona, is really who Jasmine wants to be. I think the cool, calm, and collected, well-spoken Jasmine is probably who she really is. But I think the sister girl, the caricature of a Black woman, I think that's who she wants to be. And she feels like that's giving her more room. It's giving her more land to run on than being cool, calm, and collected, well-spoken. That sister girl has given her a lot more, in my opinion. But let's go. Shout out to Paralegal Institute.
I've been quoted that the lawmaker using coarsest language imaginable to try to make her case, describing former President Joe Biden as old as SHI Young Teasy, but adding he's an old man that gets SHI Young Teasy done. Crockett told Dexter that she had big plans for oversight. Now, y'all, this refers to Crockett thinking she was going to get elected to the leadership of her House committee. She thought she was going to get elected to the leadership.
Psych.
Because she's been doing what they want her to do. That's what y'all have to understand. She's doing what the Democratic Party wants her to do. It's not like she's just making this up. You can see other people doing the same stuff. She wanted to take hearings on the road and show voters that, quote, these M&F'ins Republicans are all complicit in Trump's wrongdoing, Godfrey reported. She also pointed to a Punchbowl news story in late June reporting that during an Atlanta fundraiser, Crockett, quote, leaned into the idea of impeaching President Donald Trump, a stance that hasn't endeared her to members who have to run in districts that Trump carried. The same day the Punchbowl report was published, 62, y'all, this is the key. Listen to this. That same day, 62 Democratic leaders met to decide which of the 4 oversight candidates, so oversight is the committee that Jasmine Crockett, she wanted to become the leader of. I believe that the leader passed away. She was in the running to become the next leader. 62 Democratic leaders met to decide which of the 4 oversight candidates they'd recommend to the caucus. The vote was decisive. Garcia, who is not Crockett, obviously, with 33 votes was the winner. Crazy. Crockett placed last with only 6, the journalist noted. So y'all, as you can see, Crockett has been rejected by her own party. Check this out. Finally, she let readers know that Crockett received 7,000 fewer votes in her re-election campaign in 2024 than her predecessor, the late Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson, did in 2020. Yeah. In other words, though Crockett hails from a safe district in Dallas, she is losing support even there. So y'all, Crockett, she's playing the game the way that the Democratic leadership has decided to play it. You know what she's going to say? This is because of my demographics.
Oh, of course.
And who knows? Maybe she's right. I don't know. But one thing I do know is she's played this role of cursing and spitting up a storm and getting ratchet and down and dirty. She's played it better than anybody. She's played it better than AOC. She's played it better than Bernie Sanders. She's played it better than anybody. But she got the least votes for what she considered, I would say, what seemed to me to be the most important potential role of her career, which was going to be the head of the House Oversight Committee. She wanted to talk about impeachment. She went too far, y'all. If you ever seen the movie Tropic Thunder, there's a reference in that movie you never go full something. Well, she went full. So, y'all, we know that the Democratic Party is probably the least Democratic Party, right? Look how they did Bernie Sanders. Look how they just canceled the result of an election in Minnesota when they didn't like it. Democratic Party's not democratic. I'm going to go out on a ledge, y'all. I'm going to predict Jasmine Crockett. They've already passed her over for leadership. They might throw her under the bus, y'all. They might just get rid of her for real. She has already complained that she gave them blood, sweat, and tears, and they paid her back by not giving her the leadership position. They might throw her under the bus. So if you watch this long, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to put this on the thumbnail, y'all. I'm going to predict that with so much competition, the Democrats are going to see that they can get rid of this woman and that they may very well make a move to get rid of Jasmine Crockett, who probably is a liability. Let me know what y'all think about that theory, y'all. Let me know what you think about this video, about this crazy redistricting drama that has resulted in this crazy contentiousness among the Democrats in Texas. Drop a comment down below, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, absolutely, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, y'all, please do subscribe. For my people with the retirement, I've been saying.
All right, grace and peace. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. That was Paralegal Institute. The link is down in the description. That is a very interesting thought. Did they just use Jasmine Crockett for the time being? Was she a useful tool? And now that they don't need that tool anymore, they're just going to put it in the toolbox, or maybe they broke the tool and they're going to go ahead and discard it. That's interesting because I never thought of that. I did think that I thought Jasmine had longevity because I thought she was doing exactly what they wanted, but maybe they only wanted that for a season. Maybe they only wanted that bombastic, cantankerous personality just for a season. And maybe they can't put up with it, right? Maybe they're like, man, look, I didn't know it was going to be this crazy. I didn't know he was going to be full. Like, nah, you can't do that. We can't do that. So maybe, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below for sure. Thank you so much, West Virginia Wire, for the very kind $5 super sticker. Another great content creator up in here, doing great things in these YouTube streets, doing great content. Shout out to you, sister. I appreciate the very kind gift for sure. What do you say here? I know Peyton Jackson personally. If you ever want to interview her, I'm sure she would. Oh, Peyton Jackson. Let me know. I like talking to people. Maybe we can just talk about whatever. Favorite beverage. Oh, I know Peyton Jackson. Yeah. Tell Peyton Jackson, absolutely. I'd love to talk to her. Yeah. Thank you, West Virginia Wire. Sure. I'd love to talk to her. Looks like a great conversation for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Who would they put in instead of Jasmine Crockett? I mean, we did see the Garcia gentleman, the other young lady, and then the gentleman that's already in the 33rd district already. You know, where would they be? That's a great question. We're going to find out together, though. That's one thing about this is we're going to find out. That is for sure. That is for sure. Now, if you're just jumping in, I just wanted to get rid of, I had a whole bunch of videos that I was going to do. I was going to respond to and do some reactions to. And I said, hey, how about I just turn it into a live stream and we just do it all together? We just kind of check it out together. Have some fun. How about that? So that was Paralegal Institute. And every video that we're going to be looking at is already down in the description. So you can go check them out. Shout out to Paralegal, as well as Decoy Voice, as well as a Black Conservative Perspective. I think we got Black Conservative Perspective next. And he's looking at that Don Lemon photo op that he was doing in Washington, D.C. Let's go check it out.
I want to say that loud and clear for anybody, especially in Washington, D.C., who might not hear me. If you are not willing to be part of the solution, keep our names out of your mouth.
That's an interesting phrase.
If you are not willing to walk our communities, keep our name out of your mouth. If you are not willing to understand the pride and the beauty of this city and this community, keep our name out of your mouth. Because if you were willing to visit, if you were willing to spend time, if you were willing to actually walk our communities and walk our streets and not just talk about us from the Oval Office, you would see what we see. One of the greatest cities in the United States of America. So let's keep up the work. Let's make sure that we also hold the promise of leaving no one behind in this mission.
The huge problems. Baltimore, Wes Moore was telling me I want to walk with the president. Well, I said, I want to walk with you too someday, but first you got to clean up your crime because I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole. And this guy, I don't even think he knows it. He's another candidate for president. Between him and Newsom, you got some real beauties, I'll tell you. But if we did...
Boy. So we got to talk about this video that is going viral of a citizen humiliating, exposing woke Democrat governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, for his photo op walkthrough of Baltimore, because Wes Moore has been begging President Trump, well, just do a walkthrough of Baltimore with me, right? Because he claims that Baltimore is so safe, even though Baltimore is still one of the deadliest cities in the country, right? But again, Democrats are claiming that it's so safe. Even though, again, when you ask the people on the ground, the people who actually live there about Baltimore, the narrative the Democrats are putting out there, it falls apart. Take a look.
You have made clear that you don't want the National Guard sent to Baltimore. But according to FBI data for 2024, Baltimore still had the third highest rate of violent crime in the United States for cities with populations over 250,000 people. So why not take the extra help from the federal government?
Well, the truth is this, right? We understand those numbers, but we also understand that last year was another consecutive year of historic reductions in gun violence in the city of Baltimore, and that we know the National Guard doesn't work. You're talking about, you and I are right now talking when Baltimore has the fewest amount of homicides through this date on record. Why now? Why not during the president's first term when gun violence was through the roof? We have an approach through our community violence prevention plan, through our comprehensive plan to reduce gun violence the right way in Baltimore, and we're not going to shake from that. We know what works here in Baltimore. We don't need that kind of help.
Meanwhile, it's a lot better because it'll control the area and the drug dealers and the users won't be around here.
Because right now our city needs it. This city Baltimore is on fire right now. Like we need as much help as we can get.
I think it's more of a stunt, really. It's just for show. I think what they really need to do is send Baltimore enough funds to hire more police officers.
I've been a resident of Maryland all my life, so I think it would help some.
Why so?
Coming from a family that was broken up, my husband was murdered 2 years ago, and nothing was ever done.
Murder where? At home?
Right out in front of our house.
Sorry.
It was a carjacking gone wrong, and they shot him in his head. Killed him instantly, so. But again, our lovely mayor didn't do nothing.
Did they ever find the perpetrator?
Nope.
So you want to see it?
Yes, I want justice.
You want justice, and you would like to see the troops here in the National Guard?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I'm sorry you had that experience. The president said he wants to send troops here to.
So one of the reasons why one of the reasons why setting the National Guard to help with police helps and works is because of a policy that used to be called the broken window policing policy from the 1980s. And I looked it up, and basically it was a theory that if you saw disorder in the community, resolving the smallest form of disorder, like a broken window or public drinking or graffiti, fixing that alone, starting that by fixing that, keeps from having greater and greater problems later on down the road. So something as small as, hey, there's a broken window, let me call the broken window hotline and let them know there's a broken window over here on 123 Main Street. That gets resolved and it keeps the crime down. That's the idea. And they haven't said it expressly, but that's really what they're doing. It's basically called the broken window policing policy. And it worked. It did, in fact, work. And we saw what it did in other places like Washington, D.C. I believe it worked in New York at one time. I believe Mayor Giuliani was incorporating a form of that. And here in Atlanta, look, Atlanta had gotten really bad with graffiti. And I've said this a lot to my wife. She gets sick of me talking about it. But the graffiti in Atlanta has gone skyrocket. It's gone crazy. And billboards, highway signs, just the most ridiculous places. I was driving through the city coming back this past weekend, and I noticed that there's a lot less of that on the highways. Now, I don't know about on the streets because I was just driving through the highways, but it looks better when you know that they're taking care of something as minuscule as graffiti over the highway, which, by the way, is crazy town that there's graffiti over the highway. So these people were shimmying, doing a Spider-Man to paint graffiti on a bridge, man. That's craziness. But anyway, that's what they're doing. So let's bring this back in. Shout out to Black Conservative Perspective. Let's go.
Maryland, what do you think? Baltimore into Maryland?
I'm not opposed of it. Right. I think it'll be a good idea.
Why so?
Maybe we can clean up some of this crime-ridden neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know?
Is the crime bad?
Very bad. Atrocious. And, I'm out of breath, so you have to see.
I see you were running. You got your prayer rug. Yeah.
Right. I'm on my way to Juma.
Yeah.
It'll be a breath of fresh air.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Think you should send him?
It's straight, it's getting out of hand, man. All these killings all the time. The murder rates going higher and higher. and all the drugs. They don't got no programs. You know, I mean, they do, but they don't work. And then like the bikers, you know what I mean? The 12 o'clock boys, they need to build them a park, make more things, you know what I mean? Like more sources.
So you said send the troops and sources, or
no, like send the troops to straighten everything out, you know what I mean? And then make Baltimore great again.
Rebuild.
Rebuild it, back.
And that's something that people are not realizing. When sending the National Guard is only stopping the bleeding. It's a tourniquet. It's cauterizing the wound. It's putting the hand on there and squeezing it tight. The deep matter of suturing and stitching back up the patient, that's going to be done by the local officials. But the National Guard right now is really just a deterrent to stop the bleeding, if you will, so that the administration, so that the government, so that the local officials can get their arms around and say, okay, we've stymied this situation. What do we need to do? We need to build a skate park. What do we need to do? We need to open up the mental health facility. What do we need to do so that we can get some of these people off of the streets to continue what was brought on by the National Guard? It's not meant to be a long-term fix. And I think that's what most people are realizing, and they say that. So shout out for sure.
Cal was, long time ago.
Yeah. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So clearly those were not the answers that Don Lemon was looking for, right? If Don Lemon was on the streets of Baltimore and those are the answers that he was getting, best believe that crime, at least in terms of how people feel about crime in Baltimore, is bad, right? It's really bad. Mm-hmm. Okay. They want the National Guard there. They want federal help. And Democrats are standing against what their people want. Okay. I'm telling you, everybody knows that crime is out of control in these cities. And the more the Democrats pretend that's not the case, the worse that it looks for them, especially considering how everybody knows that even Democrats know, because Wes Moore did his quote unquote walkthrough of Baltimore. And he got exposed by a resident of Baltimore for how fake this really is, because this guy is quote unquote walking through Baltimore, which apparently is supposed to be such a safe city, right? Mr. President, come walk with me through Baltimore, right? So safe. Except this guy is quote unquote walking through Baltimore. But again, notice who he's with as he's walking through Baltimore, because it's quote unquote so safe. So
okay, I'm going to stop for a second. And keep in mind, these videos have been curated. They're picking the best out of it. So if the best they could do, the best Don Lemon could do was get 3 people who are begging for the National Guard to come and prop up Baltimore and help Baltimore, how many people do you think they cut out? If that's the best he could do, how many people do you think they cut out of? They're on the cutting room floor, so to speak, of the video. So this is going to be the same thing right here. Let's go. And they only came when let me bring this up real quick, just make it bigger. And it only came when Donald Trump says something. And these folks are mad at the cameraman. Let's go.
Let's get into it.
Why'd you to walk now after we done lost people in the Park Heights? 5-year-old was shot in the hand. Ooh. So this is about photo op, right? This is what this is about, photo op, right? This is what this is about.
He's with the mayor.
Photo op. And you're gonna ask the president to walk the street with you. But look what you got walking with you. Y'all won't walk the street like this by yourself. But look what you got walking with y'all.
Facts. If Baltimore's so safe, right? If it's so safe to just walk through the streets of Baltimore, right?
Just walk.
Why do you have a whole entourage of people? Why do you have a whole entourage of security? Why? If it's so safe, why do you need all these people?
Right.
Why can't you just walk alone by yourself, right? And not have all of this security with you? Again, it's funny how that works. They claim it's so safe, but they're walking around with a ton of security. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I'm glad that people are not falling for this, right? I am
right there
really
with you.
happy that people are seeing right through what this is.
All of this. All of this.
Look at that. Look at that. They got police with them. Got a whole armed security detail. Why do you need a whole armed security detail if Baltimore is so safe? And this is what President Trump was talking about. This is what he's talking about. It's like, I can't walk through Baltimore. Not the way it is right now. You got to clean it up first, right? Again, the governor and the mayor can't walk through Baltimore without being heavily armed, right? Without having a heavy police presence. Again, why is that? It's because they don't believe the things that are coming out of their mouths, right? They don't believe those things. Because if they believed it, they would need all this. If they believed it, this is what they do. This is what Westmore should do, right? Since he's all for challenges, right? And he wants people to walk through Baltimore because it's so safe. I challenge Westmore and this woke mayor to walk through the most dangerous neighborhood in Baltimore at 2 a.m. at night and live stream it for 10 miles, right? Walk for 10 miles.
10 miles is crazy.
The most dangerous neighborhood in Baltimore at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. If they can do that, then I will believe them. But until they do that, I don't believe them because this right here doesn't prove anything at all. It proves absolutely nothing. It isn't.
Okay, Greg, hold on, Greg. I gotta give you flag on the play, Greg. Because let me get flag on the play real quick. I didn't have it ready, but you got to fix that one, Greg. You know why?
You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious. You don't find that suspicious.
2 a.m. through the most dangerous neighborhood in Baltimore, 10 miles, but they still got to do it solo. They cannot do it with this whole entourage. Because I'm looking here in this picture, I see at least 3 police individuals, at least 3. There's probably more if they zoomed in on them. So yeah, they gotta really make sure that this is a serious. We got to make sure we give them the proper context, because otherwise.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
So let's get back at it, Greg. Shout out to Black Conservative Perspective.
Anti-Trump photo op. That's all it is.
All of this. All of this. How much money
there's some in front of him.
Photo ops.
Exactly.
Don't touch me. Look at that. Photo ops. 2 little girls walking Park Heights. 2 little girls walking Park Heights now. This is photo
Embarrassing. Cartels decline.
Look at her. Look at her. 5-year-old girl got shot in the hand.
10 miles might have been aggressive. I agree with that, Jean Lee. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Can we do 5? Let's do 5. Okay. 5 miles. That could be the name of the whole stunt, the live stream. 5 miles through the hood at 2 a.m. I think we would all tap in to watch it. I know Willie Doc would with that great super sticker. Thank you so much, brother, for the $2 super sticker for sure. Yeah, I see at least 6. Willis, I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably all of those people are some kind of police officer. This dude right here with the glasses and the vest and the blue shirt, you know he 5-0. You know it. So now we're gonna give them 5 miles, but they have to do it solo. Or these 2 can just do it by themselves. They can do it half a mile. Dang. No, come on, man. They still got, come on. 5 miles. Come on. What's that? No, man. Come on. We ain't going to do a whole 10K because that's 6.3. Come on, man. Come on. At least 5 miles. You got to at least walk through the hood. But anyway, let's get back to this. Shout out to a Black Conservative Perspective. I don't think so. I mean, 5 miles is I'm thinking where 5 miles is from my house right now. That's a good little walk. I can get pretty far. 5 miles. That's a good little, that's a good little run. A good little walk for sure. Shout out.
But y'all didn't come up here then. But now this is photo op because Trump said something.
Fact.
So now y'all want to come up here.
Facts.
Because Trump done said something.
They only care because Trump brought attention to it, right? Trump brings attention to the out of control crime. And now all of a sudden they want to do walkthroughs, pretending as if there's no problem, right? Nothing to see here, right? Everything is great. Everything is amazing in Baltimore.
Everything's awesome.
Don't mind the fact that I have a ton of security with me, right? For whatever reason, even though I claim that this place is so safe, right? Never mind that, right? Never mind all the police officers, okay, that are protecting me right now, okay? It is safe. Trust me, right? Trust us. Wink, wink, okay? I am happy that the people are seeing through this, because when there's actual crime, when there's actual murders, when people are losing their lives, these people are nowhere to be found. You can only find them when it comes time to try to pull some stunt, some photo op like this that they think they can use against Trump. That's it. That's the only time they care. Outside of that, they don't care. They don't give a damn. You're not going to see this.
Trump done made your move now. Trump done made a move now. Now they want to come up here.
Hey, I don't think there's any civilians. I might have to find an original video of this. I don't think there's any civilians in this thing. It looks like only police. There are a lot of them too. That's crazy. That is crazy work.
Yeah, he can't have
Her.
They cheating on the murder numbers in the city of Baltimore as well. They cheating on the crimes, everything in the city of Baltimore. This ain't nothing but a photo op. They don't care nothing about nobody in no Park High School. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't can't talk to me. I'm talking. I'm busy. I'm on my job. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so that's what it is. Photo op. The little girls walking the Park Heights. That's what they doing. That's what they doing. But they won't come down here when people. They won't come down here when people getting shot. They don't come down here when children get shot. They don't come down here when women get shot. But they come down here when Donald Trump says something. This ain't nothing but photo op. This ain't nothing but photo op. Yeah, they don't come down here. Hey, don't push up on me. Push up on me for. I ain't wrong.
Okay, I'm finding this optic to be very interesting. We've been watching this man harangue the governor and mayor for a block, 2 blocks, and none of those persons who are less melanated, who are clearly officers, federal agents, whatever, not one of them touched that man. And now a more highly melanated people have shown up. This gentleman in this orange shirt, this one in the white, and now he's being touched. I think that is so interesting. So interesting. These people are just the useful tools of this regime because they don't have the guts to put their hands on the man, but they have other people that look like this man, I'm assuming, come in there, and he wasn't being touched before. I just noticed that, but let's go.
I ain't wrong.
Yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Yeah, this guy is not wrong. He's 100% right. It is a photo op. They're only there, okay, because of the fact they're trying to make a statement against Trump. That's all it is. And you know that they don't believe what they say because, again, look at all of the security that they had, right? If it was so safe, why do you need all these police officers? Why you need all the police officers? Why you need all the security? Again, if these people really want to prove how safe Baltimore is, or any of these liberal cities, right? They really want to prove it. I challenge any of these Democrats, any of them, 2 a.m., pick the most dangerous neighborhood in your liberal city and walk for 10 miles at night at 2 a.m. and live stream it. Do it. If you want to prove it, right? I will believe you when you actually put your money where your mouth is, right? When you actually put your life on the line, right? To prove that your city's safe in a real way. Then I'll believe you. But until then, again, like this guy said, this is nothing but a photo op. These politicians only move. They only care when Trump says something, right? Yeah, Trump made him do it. That's exactly how much Trump lives in these people's heads rent free, right? You never see this unless Trump said something. You wouldn't see this. They would be saying anything about it. Trump got them on the defense now. Got them on the defense. And that's how you know they're losing. That's how you know they're losing. I mean, even people like Stephen A. Smith, they're ripping Democrats for their lack of response to crime in their cities and pretending as if this is not a problem.
Let me talk to America right now in saying this.
You have lost the entire thing. Now that Stephen A. Smith is speaking out so vocally against the Democrats, he doesn't have to become a Republican. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the fact that Stephen A. Smith is speaking out so vocally against your policies, you have lost the game. Let's go.
Okay. The lone black man on this segment is me. I don't need any of Bill O'Reilly's statistics that he just spewed to know that he's right in terms of what has been transpiring throughout in the streets of Chicago. It has been going on for years. It was going on before Obama was in office. It was going on when he was in office. It's been going on since he's been in office. I recall seeing a black couple on national television asking for military assistance. That's how bad it has been in Chicago. And one administration after another has either been incapable or unwilling to do anything about it. It is shameful, and black folks in that city have been getting killed for years, and I'm disgusted at the level of ineffectiveness or unwillingness that they've executed in getting better things done and making it better for the law-abiding citizens in Chicago. Having said that, we got to pay attention to what Trump, we got to pay attention, hold on, Bill, we got to pay attention to this. When he went into L.A., that was a bit excessive. You got a bunch of people in L.A. that were talking about stuff was going on in a 2-block radius. It could have been handled by the local PD. In Washington, D.C., that is not a state. You understand? He has the right. It's run by the federal government. He has a right if he wants to send the National Guard, even though the National Guard isn't trained for that. And when you send in the Marines or the Army, they're trained to kill. They're not trained to police. So you got to send in the right people. I get that part. But I understand his intent when you're talking about what's transpired in Washington, D.C. Chicago may very well be unlawful, but with Pritzker, you're absolutely right. Yo, what are you going to do about it? It's one thing to say, Trump, don't send in the National Guard. It's another thing for the president to come out of his mouth, I'm here to help if they ask for it, and then for you to say no and then try to implement laws in place that would prohibit him from sending help. Wait a minute. When that happens, you can't point the finger at Bill O'Reilly. You can't point the finger.
Shout out to Uncivil Law. Shout out to Uncivil Law. Now, this is another excellent content creator out here in the law tube space. Fantastic attorney, knows a lot. He knows a way more than I do. All right. Shout out. If the moderators could drop Uncivil Law's link in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. And he's right. He says here, what does he say here? National Guard is actually prevention, setup, and recovery. To me, that's exactly what I'm talking about. To stop the bleeding, to do that broken window policing, to add more eyes watching and allow the government, the local administration to get their arms around their problems so that they can manage it post the National Guard leaving. Shout out. Thank you so very much, Uncivil Law, for coming up in here, sharing your insight. I appreciate you. All right, we're almost done here. Let's finish up with this. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith.
Chris Cuomo. You can't point the finger at people that are and just say, oh, it's really not politics. Who the hell are they? It's all about politics if you're a governor and you're going to take that position. So I have no problem with you at all, Bill, calling out the governor of Illinois the way that you have.
Let me boom. I think Stephen A. is spot on. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. For all these Democrats that are, trying to run for president, because that's what this is about. All of them are trying to run for president against Trump. You're not running against Trump first and foremost, right? Trump is not going to be on the ballot in 2028. At least as of right now, he's not going to be on the ballot. And remember, you got to win a general election. You're going to have to answer for the fact that your state, these liberal cities within your state, are crime-ridden hellholes. You're going to have to answer for these soft on crime policies that these woke Democrat governors are supporting in a general election. You're going to have to answer for these things. And that's the mistake that these people are making. They think that anti-Trumpism is going to be enough to get them through the primaries, and it probably will be, right? Whoever can be the most anti-Trump probably will get through the primaries of the Democrat Party at this point. But again, that doesn't mean that plays well in a general election. And again, that's what these people are forgetting. So again, we're going to see. But yeah, I mean, these Democrats are getting exposed left and right for being soft on crime, right? Their inability to do anything, and how the only thing that they want to do really is to virtue signal against Trump while their cities are in chaos. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. And
Shout out.
Perspective. Peace.
Thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate Greg for sure for sharing that insight. And this is something I want to just add to that, because we're going to watch Chicago as well. I found a great comment on Chicago and what's going on there, and the gangs calling out that's crazy. But I digress. If Democrats truly care about Black lives, whenever a less melanated police officer unalives a Black man or a highly melanated man, everybody gets very, very keenly aware that quote unquote Black Lives Matters. And we see that Black lives are being extinguished in a city, and a president says, hey, I can send the National Guard to help police, to add a layer of help to help the local police get it done. Wouldn't that be supporting and helping Black lives? Since, of course, Black Lives Matter, right? Why is it that less melanated people, and by the way, the citizens in that town are asking for it. They're saying, please help us. Our governor, our mayors, they really don't know what's going on. Our local officials, they really are lost like a ball in tall weeds. Please help us. President man, sure, send them in. Why is it that less melanated people who are quick, and highly melanated as well, who are quick to yell BLM and all of that shenanigan, if a cop deletes a criminal or an unarmed citizen, whatever you want to call it. But in this situation, when they're trying to protect more of those lives, they seem to be fighting against it. That's got to be the craziest, nastiest work I've ever seen in the world. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let me know what y'all think about it for sure. But I know what I think. I think Jean Lee is amazing. Shout out to her blessing 5 people with some J-Whip podcast memberships. Shout out to all of y'all. If you got the membership, as my friend likes to say, we're in the South. We got good manners. We say thank you. Y'all say thank you to Jane Lee for blessing y'all with 5 new members to the J-Whip Podcast Pod Squad. Thank you so much. Man, that's some crazy work right there. Shelby says this. There was a Republican that went to Baltimore to clean up the trash. He and his team cleaned up nearly 1 million pounds of trash, if I remember it correctly. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I can look into it. But I mean, something simple as trash cleanup. That's why it was interesting that we saw the National Guard in DC doing trash cleanup. I think that's right. I think that's part of the broken window policing policy that could be beneficial. Just getting rid of the trash. We don't have a ton of trash around. So that means people kind of take care of their stuff. I mean, we see it in your homeowners associations. We see it everywhere. A form of that broken window policing policy in different shapes and shades. But ultimately, it's if we take care of stuff in a small form, like graffiti, like trash on the street, like open intoxication. If we get that out of the way now, we won't have to worry about larger problems later. I don't think that that's a lap too far. Shout out to that. Thank you, Shelby. There you go. If the community doesn't care, nothing changes. I agree 100%. Keith got a membership and he said, thank you. Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jean Lee. Now I can watch the members only content I missed. Thanks. Look at that. Blessing. Look at that. Coming through blessing. I love it. Okay. I wanted today, if you're just jumping in, thank you so much for jumping in to the best live chat on the internet. What I wanted to do today is, one, let y'all know that I'm probably going to do it Saturday. I'm going to be honest with you. I did my first video on September 11th, 2021. So this is my 4-year anniversary coming up. The technical date is Thursday. I don't know if I'm going to do it on Thursday, but we're going to do a party on Thursday. We're going to have a nice, or Thursday or Saturday, more likely Saturday. And just go through some of my old videos, maybe invite some people over, have a good time, have a good live stream. So come check it out. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 10th, we are going to have guests in, and we're going to be talking about FDMG. Remember the young lady who went to FDMG and did a great review of the school or the abandoned buildings, whatever you want to call them. And of course, a review of Umar Johnson. Well, both of us have received some fantastically insane comments. So we're going to do a live Dusty comments reading tomorrow of people who are trying to defend Umar Johnson, which is just the craziest thing in the world. I can't understand how somebody is still in the year of our Lord 2025, still trying to defend that guy. But here we are nonetheless. Saturday, I think it's 6:00 p.m. Okay, you're in the PST. At the moment, oh man, I might push it back. I'll push it back. We will do it at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. So that's what, noon? What is it on Pacific Standard? Is 3 hours behind? So it's going to be 4. All right, yeah, we'll make sure. I'm gonna move it back. I'll move it back. I'll do it at 7. Thank you so much, Copeland. But so that'll be tomorrow at 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. We're just going to do a Dusty comments. We're going to be reading some of the comments and actually answering them. We're going to actually answer them and make sure that, because there are some good comments in there. And I think some of these people are well-meaning. I'd like to try to give the benefit of the doubt. I think some of these people are well-meaning. The problem is their well-meaningness should be applied to people who deserve the well-meaning grace, not somebody who's for 15 years has been Shanghai-ing the community. That person doesn't deserve that. So we're going to be doing that on tomorrow, 8:00 or 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. We're just going to have a good, fun time reading Dusty comments, and they're dusty. So please make sure you take your Claritin, get your Flonase, because there's some pretty bad ones. They're pretty bad. But you know what else is bad? Chicago. Let's go.
Tell you right now, I'm a person that lives on the south side of Chicago. I live in the area. If I call the police, they may take 40 to 50 minutes to come there, if they come at all.
So Trump has declared war on Chicago using an AI meme of him in a Kid Rock hat, flanked by helicopters, burning the city down. You can't make this up. Although U.S. law prevents the use of the army against Americans, less Congress supports it, which I don't remember hearing about no votes. This shows you that the United States will wage war against its citizens in the name of white supremacy. Because U.S. law is malleable, it's subject to change. The overriding, unquestionable law of the United States is white supremacy. All things are possible in furtherance of racism. And it's no coincidence that Chicago is a majority black and Latino city. But hey, if this is what it takes for solidarity, for people to realize that all of our liberation struggles are connected, so be it. There's one thing that supersedes all the segregation of Chicago is that we love our fucking city. And we can't stand Trump ass. Try to tell you niggas that shit ain't sweet. See what happens when you're getting blown up by a Malort bottle.
That's crazy work. Number one, I don't believe Trump is trying to declare war on Chicago. Some of the memes, and I've said this before, some of the use of social media that Trump does, I do think he needs to tamper that down some. I don't think it presents itself in the right light. I understand what he's trying to do, but I'm giving grace and trying to give the benefit of the doubt. And a lot of the time, it just doesn't translate well. You don't need to do that. That being said, you do realize that we're looking at criminals saying they're going to keep criminaling even though the president has stepped in. Sir, that's not going to work. That is not, nobody's going to bat an eye over that. That's going to be some crazy work. Let's go.
You say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Well, you're hearing a lot of pushback, Chris, a lot of fear and even some anger. If you talk about what we just saw here, it was another, you mentioned, third day of protests against the threat of sending more ICE agents or more federal agents for that increased immigration operations here in Chicago and the threat of National Guard. But you're also hearing that pushback from Chicago's political leaders. Mayor Brandon Johnson saying the meme that you were just talking about was beneath the dignity of the president. You had J.B. Pritzker, the governor, saying that this is something that should be taken seriously, saying that the president is threatening war on a major American city. And at issue here, Chris, is not just the opposition to those increased ICE operations.
Let me read that real quick. I want to help people, not hurt them, says the guy that just threatened American city with the Department of War. Pritzker, do you realize that we wouldn't be having this conversation if you did your job? I'm just saying, like, if Pritzker did his job, this conversation would not be had. And I think it's fair to say, and I might get in trouble, so please make sure you email management, dearwokec@gmail.com. The Democrat Party makes investments into the future. They invest into the future, right? Most of us, if you have a 401k or you're investing in the stock market and all that kind of, you're familiar with investing and you're looking toward the future because you're hoping to get a dividend, you're hoping to get good returns. The Democrat Party invests into the future. And how do they invest into the future, Jason? Thank you for asking. They invest in crime. They invest in criminals. They're not investing in people. They are not investing in the citizens of their cities, of their constituents. They're not investing in them. They're investing in crime. And Chicago's got to be probably the textbook example of this, what I'm saying, that they're not investing in the people and caring about the people, the taxpayers, but no, the people that are here illegally, that are not here with proper permissions, and people that behave in a criminal way. That's who they're supporting. That's who they're going out on a limb for. Not let me listen to the people that actually pay taxes. Not let me listen to the people that are actually supporting the base of this city. And they're saying crime is too high. But I'm doing whatever I'm doing as the mayor, as a governor, as an elected official, whatever I think I need to do to win over the people that are here illegally and the people that continue to do illegal activities. Well, like there's nothing for, and we'll hear Brandon in a second, there's nothing for the people that are actually affected by this. Let's go. Let's finish.
That are likely to come, that the governor has been warning that he's hearing is going to happen, is imminent here in Chicago. But it's also the threat that you're hearing of the now.
Boy. So we got to talk about Chicago, a liberal city that is facing an immigration/crime crackdown. Okay, immigration, crime, basically the same thing at this point. Okay, and President Trump wants to clean up Chicago the same way that he cleaned up Washington, D.C. Now, the Democrats are obviously playing checkers, okay, and President Trump is playing chess because President Trump, once again, has gotten Democrats to take very unpopular positions, which is that they should be soft on crime and that crime is non-existent, right? That is essentially what Democrats are doing because President Trump wants to be tough on crime and he's acknowledging the reality that crime is rampant in these liberal cities, which Democrats deny. So President Trump, again, is now reportedly targeting Chicago at the very least for an immigration crackdown. And we're going to see about the National Guard pulling up to Chicago for an expanded overall crime crackdown. Now, there are some people in Chicago, specifically the thugs and the criminals, who have allegedly expressed their opinions about the National Guard coming in and cracking down on crime. Apparently, the gangbangers in Chicago are saying that they're not afraid of the National Guard. In fact, they're warning the National Guard not to come, right? They're sending a warning saying, don't come, okay, because apparently they believe that they can take on the National Guard, okay, that the National Guard should be afraid of coming to Chicago and not the other way around. The thugs shouldn't be afraid of the National Guard. No. The National Guard should be afraid of the thugs. At least that is the takeaway from some individuals who have took to the internet to express how the gang members of Chicago feel about this. Take a look.
Trump, do not send the National Guard to Chicago, gang. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. We are a different fucking breed out here. We are not Los Angeles. We are not Washington, D.C. This is Chicago. Them niggas go fight back. I'm telling you, them niggas go fight back, gang. Whatever. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Them young niggas got switches, gang. They not going for that shit, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Do y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro? There are over second grade.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I hit the button. Sorry, y'all. That was wild. Hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. Y'all, I'm let me make sure I got this right. Hold on, let me make sure I got this right, young blood. Trained military professionals who are trained to put people to sleep permanently. They are worried about Call of Duty rejects that have switches. And if you're not familiar with a switch is a device that's added to a handgun that allows it to just eliminate all of its magazine in a very short amount of time. It's insane. But you can't aim with it. Once it just sprays out 9, 12, 15 bullets in a matter of seconds, but there's no aiming. So a trained individual is going to be worried about somebody that holds a gun like this. Okay. All right, sir. How, and please understand, this is one of the persons that alleges that they will be fighting back. So that means they are going to use weaponry against the National Guard. And that's going to go well. And and please understand, we're not even talking about the amount of ammunition. We're not talking about anything of that nature. This is just silliness. This is silly. And then and he does say something here I think is very interesting. I apologize. I backed up a little bit to make sure I didn't miss it. Where he says there's more bad people in Chicago than good. That's a problem.
Fuck what you talking about. Them young got switches, gang. They not going for that shit, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Do y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro? There are over 100,000 gangs in Chicago by the city by itself.
Man, Trump talking about something. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. You about to find out why it's called direct. The fuck, goofy ass.
JB said Tangerine better find somebody he could actually play with. But coming to Chicago ain't the move. Matter of fact, he said, I double dog dare you to touch one of my people, touch one of my kids. Touch one of my kids, see what's going to happen. I'm coming after you with everything I got. He needs to know that we are not going to make this easy for him.
Yeah, so you seen that? You heard that? Apparently, there are YNs in Chicago sending a warning to Trump saying, hey, don't send the National Guard, right? It's going to be some problems if you send the National Guard. That is what they're allegedly saying, as if they could take the National Guard. And I think it's safe to say that that idea is laughable at this point.
Hey, man, those of y'all in Chicago and other cities that are telling Trump not to send the National Guard there because the YNs are going to scare away the U.S. military, y'all are out of y'all minds. I don't think y'all understand we have the strongest military in the world. The YNs and gangs in your city have nothing on the U.S. military. I just seen a post dude was like, yeah, don't.
Can we take a moment to just think about this? And because this brother right here is cooking, but I just thought about it. There are countries that are afraid, militaries that are afraid of our military, but they're supposed to buckle under some undisciplined gang members. Y'all please quit playing. Please stop playing.
Come to Chicago, y'all don't understand how dangerous it is. This ain't DC. Clearly, you've never been to DC. I don't know why y'all think DC is sweet, and y'all see how they cleaned it up quickly. They'll do the same with Chicago. Did you see the Venezuelans that tried to smuggle some drugs in here on the boat a couple days ago?
Yo,
and they got blown up. What you think is going to happen on America?
Have y'all seen that video? In the chat, did you see the video where the Venezuelans were out in international water trying to come in and bring some illegal Mary Kay products, right? They just dropped a bomb on them and didn't even go back and check. Like they literally eliminated them in international water, didn't even bat an eye. Chicago. I understand it's a thing to sound big and proud, but y'all need to let that go. That was so wild. Okay, let's go.
American soil. And go ahead and think you're going to attack one of these National Guardsmen. Go ahead, see what happens. If you survive, that's a big if. You'll never see the light of day again. And keep the threats up. I don't know why y'all think that's going to make Trump be like, oh yeah, the YNs of Chicago said don't show up. So yeah, we're not going to go there. See what happens. I hope this happens.
Now, Trump might not drop the Epstein list, but one thing he will drop is a drone strike on any block in Chicago. I'm sitting here seeing folks on here acting like they really about to go to war with the Department of War. Bro, is y'all folks crazy, bro? Is y'all forgetting they on a 3-0 sweep right now? They done took out Iran, Los Angeles, and D.C. in the last 3 months. They just been in the last 3 months, bro. Trump is literally posting the kill cams from taking out cartel ships on True Social right now. Dude, let me tell you.
Yo, if you have not seen that video in the chat, I might have to go. I was not planning to do that, but that video of those cats trying to smuggle into the U.S. and the military saying, not today, and just dropping a bomb on them, yo, stop playing Chicago. Find something else to do. Give it up, turn it loose. Shout out. Yo, these people are out of control.
Y'all exactly how this gonna go, right? The minute one of them guys in our military get hurt, the minute y'all do anything to any one of them, y'all just gonna be sitting there and all of a sudden the lit light gonna come out the sky. Everybody blown up, disintegrated. I'm telling y'all, bro, y'all just gonna be evaporated to the abyss. And then Trump gonna post the kill cam on X tonight, bro, and we gonna be watching it like, dang, bro. That boy just... Why they thought they were so tough? I get it. Y'all a dangerous city. Probably the most dangerous city in America. Bro, these are the most dangerous men in the world. Like, I don't know if y'all forget. We are the 2-time World War champs, and we ain't did nothing but got stronger every year since. And y'all think y'all stand a chance because y'all got switches? You ever seen a switch on the back of a damn truck? On the back of a gun? On the back of a truck? You ain't never seen that, huh? You ever seen a drone with switches? Y'all better get ready, man. May the best of luck be with y'all, bro, because y'all gonna need all the luck y'all can get messing with them boys. I'm just telling y'all that right now.
I know what's so funny to me is the fact that we got people on TikTok and the people of Chicago saying that they're not scared of the National Guard. Which, okay, you may not be scared of the National Guard or whatever the case may be, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. The National Guard definitely ain't scared of y'all, and the National Guard definitely don't mind bringing their ass to Chicago and shutting that whole city down. And the only reason these people saying this is because Trump said that they're going to find out what he did with D.C. and they're going to do the same thing in Chicago. And I guess the people of Chicago feeling some type of way. The dudes talking about some, oh, we got switches, we ain't scared of the National Guard, we got all this, we got all that. As if this not the U.S. military that y'all talking about. I guarantee you, them folks start bringing those tanks and bringing those grenade launchers to the streets. There is absolutely nothing that y'all people can do to the National Guard once they get to Chicago. I'm going to tell you that now. These are trained professionals that we're talking about here. These people specialize in that type of activity in the active war each and every day. And you think they finna be scared or finna be affected by coming into Chicago and shutting that city down? Absolutely not. These people are trained to neutralize the target. Literally. And we got the people of Chicago thinking because they got a couple Glocks and a couple switches and whatnot, and maybe a few ARs and whatnot, they thinking that they can take on the world. Man, y'all people about to fuck around and find out what it's really about and what America is really about.
Yeah, so you say that you heard.
Okay, shout out there, man. That was yo, goodness. Shout out for sure. All right, I'm gonna bring this back in. I found the video. And it's Decoy Voice that's doing it. So shout out to Decoy Voice. So Keith, hang in there. I'm going to finish up with Greg, and then we'll pull this one in, even though it wasn't in my list. But the drone strike on the people that are trying to smuggle into the U.S., everybody in Chicago that's talking mad noise, watch this. Okay, but let's finish this up. All right, let's go.
Okay. There's nothing else that really needs to be said about this. Okay, I think most people understand how silly it is to even entertain this idea of, the South Side of Chicago or the gangs or whatever taking on the U.S. military. Like that's
crazy
nonsense,
work,
right? Like it's not gonna happen. And if it happened, we all know how it would end, right? I think we all know. So that being said, President Trump is launching an ICE operation called Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago. Okay, this is a part of the immigration crackdown. Depending on how the lunatics in Chicago handle ICE being in Chicago and doing their jobs,
Facts.
I think that will determine whether or not the National Guard will actually come in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
We are learning more about an expanded ICE crackdown here in Chicago. Moments ago, the Department of Homeland Security announcing Operation Midway Blitz. They say it's in honor of a suburban Chicago girl killed earlier this year in a car crash. That driver was in the country illegally.
No one should have to do and go through what we're going through right now. And it could have been avoided. Katie was killed by someone who really could have been vetted and not been in this country, and she would be here with us today.
Thousands of people taking to the streets in downtown Chicago over the weekend to protest these expanded plans, with more protests expected.
But you're not protesting the people that are in here illegally. That's the part. They don't care about Black lives. So when the people say Black Lives Matters, you can ignore that foolishness. They don't care. They don't care. You're not out here protesting people that are here illegally, doing illegal things and deleting people. You don't care. You're just performative art. This is drama club for adults. That's what it is.
News Nation's Nancy Lou is live in Chicago. Nancy, where faith leaders just wrapped up a rally. What did they say?
Nothing.
Well,
Foolish.
Nicole, we heard faith leaders denouncing the immigration crackdown and what seems to be the imminent deployment of federal troops. But you've heard President Trump say that it's not a case of war against Chicago, but a case of common sense in dealing with crime. Now, a big part of the federal strategy is a ramp up in ICE operations all over the country, especially in sanctuary cities. Here in Chicago, daily detainment by federal agents has meant a steady stream of detainees brought to a suburban ICE facility for processing. According to a source, a known pedophile among the weekend arrests. The agency's just released Worst of the Week list includes 2 men recently detained in Chicago, a 63-year-old convicted murderer from Cuba, and a 42-year-old Dominican man with multiple convictions, including assault, theft, and illegal reentry. Crime does remain a very real issue in Chicago. Robbers just hit a Rolex store right on the famed Magnificent Mile with thieves smashing the windows, grabbing nearly $200,000 in watches, all in broad daylight. Police did make 6 arrests, but since Friday, there have been 15 shooting incidents and 5 homicides.
Wow.
Faith leaders are calling for less federal force and more compassion.
Wow. Again,
That, and by the way, as a Christian, I'm going to just say this. As a Christian, that is not the gospel. That is not a Christian ethic. So I don't know who these faith people are that they're referring to. I'm not beholden to them. Whatever they're talking about, that's nonsense. Not caring for the people that are in your immediate jurisdiction and allowing them to be ravaged by criminals from outside is not compassion. There is no form, shape, or fashion of compassion. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. If you have a question, comment, or concern, or you have an issue with what I just said, that is not a Christian ethic that we're hearing. That is some nonsense. And the fact that they would hide their foolish, wicked behavior under the guise and a veneer of Christian ethic is completely unacceptable. I'm going to say it. So no, allowing illegals to stay in the country is not a God-given principle or a Christian ethic. No, they broke the law. It's really that simple. It's really that easy. And that makes me upset. It's so sick and stupid because that is not Christianity at all. I don't know what that is. Whatever religion that is, I'm glad I'm not a part of it. There we go. My name is Jason. Y'all know the routine.
Imagine being a Democrat right now, right? Being a Democrat and with a straight face having to tell your constituents, to tell America, crime is not that big of a deal in Chicago, right? This is overblown. Nothing's wrong. Just a Rolex store getting robbed in broad daylight in the middle of downtown Chicago, right? A place that's supposed to be safe, a place where this is supposed to be unheard of, right? Unheard of. They did it in broad daylight. Broad daylight, okay? Again, this is supposed to be unheard of. You're not supposed to hear about stories like this. Not in a developed country like the United States of America. You're not supposed to hear about this. We're not supposed to see these types of stories ever. But here we have a Rolex store in the middle of downtown Chicago just getting robbed. Robbed. In broad daylight. Broad daylight. Crime is not a problem. On top of that, you have people being shot, killed. Same old that happens every weekend in Chicago.
Every weekend.
Crime is not a problem, right? That's a right-wing Republican conspiracy theory, okay? Yeah, this is just not going to play well for Democrats in general elections. It might play well for them in primaries. It ain't going to play well for them in general elections, I'm telling you.
Calling for less federal force and more compassion.
Political leaders.
Why show compassion? And I did it again, y'all. Y'all reach your hand toward me and pray for me. Why do I keep doing that, man? I keep messing it up. Isn't it funny? They keep saying no federal influence. They just want more compassion. Why are you not showing compassion for the victims? Why are you showing compassion for the criminals? That is crazy work.
Downtown Chicago just getting robbed. For them in private.
Sorry about that.
Chicago does not need militarization. Chicago needs mobilization for justice. Chicago does not need cages. Chicago needs care, community, and compassion. They may try to meet our pain with policing, our cries with cages, and our hopes with handcuffs. But we say no. We declare faith over fear, love over hate, and power over oppression.
That made no sense. I'm not going to even go with it. I don't know what that woman was wearing. I'm not going to even go there. You already know where I'm at with that. But where's the compassion for the people that are negatively impacted by the shenanigans? Man, come on.
All empty words. What Chicago needs is law and order, right? That's what they need.
That's what they need.
Anxiety remains high in Chicago, especially in immigrant communities. Anger over ICE fueled a massive rally over the weekend with thousands marching through the heart of Chicago to protest what's been happening. Now, enforcement is only expected to ramp up even more this week with Customs and Border Patrol units now in Chicago as well. And Nicole, it's much of the same personnel behind the raids that we saw in Southern California over the weekend. Nicole?
So, Nancy, talk about the timing of these expanded operations when it comes to Chicago specifically.
Yeah, a lot being made about the timing because September is usually a very celebratory month for the immigrant population, specifically Mexican Americans. There is a huge Mexican Independence Day parade coming up this weekend in the community of Little Village. Last weekend, we had the Pilsen Parade, the Mexican Independence Day parade, and it did go off, but there were far fewer people in the crowds, and there was also a network of lookouts, people looking for any ICE agents and ready to sound alarms in case there were ICE operations underway. Meantime, other events canceled or postponed linked to the celebration that usually happens. Nicole?
Yeah, just looking at that video.
So you seen that, you heard that. Hey, if you're in the country illegally, then obviously you're going to want to avoid those types of events.
All right, shout out to a Black conservative perspective. I always appreciate Greg. He does an excellent job. And if the moderators could drop a Black conservative perspective as well as Paralegal Network in the chat, I'd appreciate it. All of their links are down in the description as well of this video. But first, let us go and see. All I'm going to say is, Chicago, you don't want this smoke. You do not want this smoke. Shout out to Decoy Voice, an excellent content creator. And you know what? I'm just going to let Decoy Voice run. I'm not going to even interrupt. I'm just going to let him run, because this right here is some good, high quality comedy.
Seen countless amounts of boats carrying nothing but military-age males landing on our beaches and wondered, why aren't they simply sinking them? Well, now they are. As all throughout 2024 and the years before, California beaches in particular saw non-stop beach landings of exactly that. With early Tuesday morning the court ruling, Trump can no longer deport Venezuelan gang members, so Trump said bet, as they sank a ship tied to the Venezuelan cartel, even posting the previously classified attack as a boat carried 11 unknown individuals that quickly met a missile where nobody on board survived. With Trump taking to social media to state, we positively ID'd them as the Tren de Aragua narco terror group, so we struck them in international waters for transporting illegal substances. 11 of them are gone, while no U.S. forces were harmed. This should serve as a notice to anyone thinking about doing the same. It sounds extreme, but really shouldn't be. When a designated terror group is bringing in substances that will end Americans' lives, why shouldn't they be struck down from the sky? As for far too long, they've just assumed the U.S. was defenseless against tiny little panga boats, only to recently discover there's a reason Americans don't have free healthcare. But when utilizing our historically expensive military, of course the left is going to freak out over terror groups being attacked. As when the mainstream media wasn't ignoring the story, they constantly questioned, how was this attack allowed? With the BBC explicitly questioning the legality, reporting taking out 11 drug traffickers may have violated international human rights, as they have a, quote, range of experts that say we may have acted illegally, then citing this huge block of text that has nothing to do with nothing. I don't know why, but ever since the virus, they've really tried to villainize self-defense, including with, there's no evidence the gang Trump is targeting deals drugs, only for Republican Senator Lindsey Graham to reply, we have a new sheriff in town. And when we're agreeing with warmonger Republican rhinos, we know something went wrong here. As not only in America, but all across Europe, we're starting to see regular citizens demand, stop these boats filled with who knows what dangerous devices and or substances by unknown military-aged males. And the fact the US is finally treating it as an invasion, utilizing its military, the left suddenly freaks out wondering, but who will protect the cartels? And the worst part is, it isn't just the media, but regular Americans siding with the cartels over us.
Oh, we might be saved by like the most unexpected group of people. Do you know who Trump's trying to declare war on? The cartel. Oh, please do. Please do. Go around and find out, Trump.
Where the same thing happened when Trump deployed the National Guard to clean up Chicago.
Look, if you start taking the Guard into Chicago, they're not going to peacefully protest. They're going to fight back. And unless you're ready to deal with that, you better keep your ass out of Chicago. Yeah. He was just saying all these African-American women in their red hats have been saying, please, sir, please come help us in Chicago with all of our crime. Bullshit. Yeah.
Which shouldn't be a surprise, as they've revealed this since the original BLM riots. And I don't know if it's genuine care for criminals or just the terminal stage of Trump derangement syndrome, where if Trump supports safety, they just have to align with crime, which is why this opinion dismissed meme is becoming more and more relevant. As I didn't know its origins, but it references this moral allocation study between conservatives and liberals. As the center of the circle is when you care about your family, friends, and acquaintances, with the outside of the circle representing trees, rocks, and even aliens from space, which clarifies how conservatives care about family, while liberals are more concerned about rocks and aliens. So when Trump protects Americans by sinking a ship of gang members, anybody crying, will somebody please think of the innocent crack rock, should automatically get their opinion dismissed. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.
All right, make sure y'all go check out Decoy Voice. Shout out to Decoy Voice. Yeah, they put a boat out there in the middle of the ocean, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna try to sneak into the U.S." And they said, "Not so much." And who knows how many times they've done this? This is the only time that they've let us know. Who knows how many times they've done it? I mean, I hope they do it as many times as they need to. In my opinion, I think it's the right thing to do. I think they need to drop bunker busters where they think there might be cartel tunnels. Go ahead and drop those. I'm fine with that. And they need to fix it. It's doing the job. And that's what we're asking the president to do. And it's funny because people will quickly say, if Trump's attention were elsewhere, aren't you America first? Well, he's taking care of America now. What are we doing? Why are you upset? Why are you complaining? And did y'all see that woman saying that she didn't think that Black people cared about safety in Chicago? That was insane. That was insane. Oh my gosh. All right. Shout out to Decoy Voice. And the links to these videos, let me make sure I add this one to it. Here, I'll put this one in the chat if you want to shout out, and make sure you support these content creators because they're doing such a great job. All right, I just dropped it in the chat. I'll make sure I put it in the description as well. Thank y'all so much for jumping in. We got 21 people in the best live chat on the internet. Please go ahead and jump in and make sure you say, hey, if you have not said, hey, make sure you like this video. All right. What I wanted to do today was just go through a couple of videos. I was going to shoot a response to them anyway. And then I said, why not just go ahead and have a conversation with some of my best and favorites? So with no further ado, I believe this is a Black conservative perspective.
Years ago on Friday,
I didn't do that right.
Single event changed the landscape of Ferguson.
Sorry about that. Let's add this to the studio. Now it works.
And racial equality. Tonight, a look back at the day-by-day events that unfolded after Michael Brown was shot and killed.
He put his hands in the air.
Ferguson police claim shots fired nearby and the crowd prevented them from moving Brown's body.
They killed this boy for no reason, and there should be justice about this.
St. Louis County Police stepped in. The next day, Chief John Belmar told the public Officer Darren Wilson shot Michael Brown in self-defense.
Within the police car, there was a struggle over the officer's weapon.
Late Sunday evening, massive looting hit Ferguson. Cell phone videos showed the lawless chaos along West Florissant. Windows smashed at Quick Trip, people grabbing what they could, then later setting it on fire. Looters broke into about 20 businesses that night. This was Zeiser Tire on Delwood. One person enters, then hordes of people take what they want. The same thing happening at Hibbett Sporting Goods store. Police responded with riot gear and tanks, a move police called necessary, but would be criticized nationally. The next day, Monday, August 11th, Michael Brown's family held a press conference.
We need to know everything.
Tuesday, August 12th, more looting. Reverend Al Sharpton arrives in St. Louis.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So once again, we got to talk about another tragic story that is probably going to fly under the radar of the mainstream liberal media, even though this story has something to do with a national news story that I think was the beginning of the prime of the BLM movement, okay, which is the Michael Brown story, okay? Everybody should be familiar with that story of Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot, which turns out to be a hoax, okay? Michael Brown was trying to assault a police officer and he lost his life, but yet the narrative around it was that, you know, he was running away and he turned around and put his hands up and said, don't shoot, and the officer executed him anyways, right? That is the story that was told, but it turns out that that story was false, right? That was a false story. That was a false narrative that was pushed by the mainstream liberal media, Democrats, liberals, and pro-black activists. And that sparked a lot of chaos and destruction in this country. Looting, violence, all of the acts of domestic terrorism that we've seen associated with the Black Lives Matter movement, I think kind of stemmed from this incident involving Michael Brown and the hands up, don't shoot narrative, which again turned out to be false. And in this story, we got to talk about one of the individuals who was responsible for the hands up, don't shoot narrative, Mr. Dorian Johnson, who was shot and killed in Ferguson, okay, literally down the street from where Michael Brown was killed. This guy also lost his life, and you can guess that it wasn't a police officer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Shooting is giving flashbacks to Ferguson and the killing of Michael Brown Jr. This man, Dorian Johnson, was with Michael Brown the day he was shot and killed by police. Now we're learning Johnson has been shot and killed. Early this morning, shots were fired in a Ferguson neighborhood and rumors started swirling about who was involved. That shooting happened on Abaco Court, just east of West Florissant Avenue. First Alert 4 started making phone calls to find out if the rumors were true, and we have confirmed the man shot and killed at the scene was Michael Brown Jr.'s friend, Dorian Johnson. Our Jordan Burrell joins us in the newsroom with more details as reaction begins to pour in tonight, Jordan.
Yeah, good evening, Morgan. It's a sad Sunday for many in Ferguson and beyond tonight. Many more.
As we watch this, I just want to just add this real quick. If you think I was being a little harsh when I said that Black Lives Matters doesn't care about Black lives, pay attention to this. When this man was murdered in the same city that BLM was running amok in, Ferguson, there's no word about this at all because the person that did it was not white. That's crazy.
Mourning the loss of Dorian Johnson, the man who made national headlines for being the friend who was last with Michael Brown Jr. before he was killed. On social media, people call the 33-year-old a St. Louis and Ferguson legend that is gone way too soon. The man and friend of Michael Brown Jr., Dorian Johnson, was there when police shot and killed Brown more than 10 years ago. First Alert 4 spoke to him shortly after that incident. He recalled the death of his friend.
He shot again, and once my friend felt that shot, he turned around and he put his hands in the air, and he started to get down, but the officer still approached with his weapon drawn, and he fired several more shots.
On Sunday, 33-year-old Johnson became a victim himself, not even a mile from the spot that his friend was shot and killed 11 years ago in the 9,000 block of Abaco Drive. Ferguson police say they were called around 8:30 Sunday morning for a man that had been shot. They say Dorian Johnson later died at the hospital from his injuries. First Alert 4 reached out to Dorian Johnson's family, but they have not responded. We spoke to his grandmother, Brenda Johnson, back in 2015 after Johnson and his brother were arrested. She had concerns about Dorian and their family after he made national headlines during the Ferguson unrest.
Dorian has this target on his back, so it makes it easy. You know, well, if we can't get to you, we'll get your brothers, we'll get your family, we'll get anybody that's close to you.
Ferguson police confirmed that an individual in custody and warrants have been applied for with the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office. While the investigation continues, an outpouring of love and support for Johnson and his family floods social media timelines. In 2015, Johnson filed a civil rights lawsuit against the city of Ferguson, the former police chief Thomas Jackson, and the officer who shot Brown. That suit was dismissed by both parties at the end of 2024. Live in the newsroom, Jordan Burrell, First Alert 4.
Wow. So what you have here is the most common reason for why Black men lose their lives. That's never talked about, that's never discussed. There never any protests. There never any outrage. When a Black man loses his life in the way that this individual lost his life, which is at the hands of what is almost certainly another Black person.
We know it's probably another Black man because they just say an individual's in custody. You know good and well if it had been a white man that we'd have known. You know that.
That's just reality. Now, the rumors were, when this first happened, that police were involved, that this was an officer-involved shooting, and police came out and said, no, this is not officer-involved. We don't have anything to do with this. And again, they have a suspect. So again, almost certainly, this is the type of violence that we commonly see in the Black community. But yet, you have individuals who, again, are more focused on when Black people lose their lives at the hands of white people or police officers, instead of when Black people lose their lives at the hands of other Black folk. So again, you put all this time, you put all this effort into protesting the police. Is the police are the problem? They're the ones who are killing Black folks, right? It's an epidemic of police killing Blacks.
That's right.
Black people can't walk down the street safely without worrying about a white police officer killing them. This is the narrative that was put out there. But even the people who were protesting this, who were making up stories about what happened, right? The biggest threat to them was not the police, not the people that they were protesting, that they were putting all their energy towards. No. It was actually the people in their own neighborhood, right? The people in your own neighborhood, your neighbor. The black man down the street, that's the biggest threat. That's who you should have been protesting. That's where you should have been putting your energy at, okay? Could you imagine if these people put energy towards cleaning up the hood? Because clearly this guy was still living in the hood. He's living in the projects. He's living in the ghetto. If they put that energy, all that energy they put towards Darren Wilson, right, the police officer that killed Michael Brown, if they put all that energy towards cleaning up the neighborhood and fighting against the violence and chaos that happens in that neighborhood, maybe, just maybe, this would not have happened. Maybe, just maybe, actual black lives would have been saved. But, you know, again, according to these people, the biggest threat to the black man is the white man, right? The white police officer. But again, the reality is that it's most likely your neighbor, right? Again, especially if you're living in the hood. See, this is why, you know, this whole narrative about systemic racism and white supremacy, you know, it never really resonated with me. And one of the reasons why is because when you grow up in the hood, when you grow up in the projects, when you grow up in the ghetto, and I have been to my fair share of projects, okay, growing up, okay, your interactions with white people are minimum, right? If not, none, really, okay? It's none. What you deal with on a day-to-day basis, who you deal with on a day-to-day basis, it's not white people. It ain't even really police. It's other black folks. You're dealing with the drama, the chaos, and the destruction from other black people. You're dealing with black folks. The only time you really start to deal with the white man, if you are a black person and you grew up in the projects, you grew up in the hood, you only really start to deal with the white folks when you become an adult and you get a decent job or you go to college. That's when you start dealing with the white man, right? But up until then, you're not dealing with the white man. You're dealing with other black folks. You're dealing with people in your neighborhood, in your community.
Right.
Those are the people that are holding you back. Not the system, not racism, not police, not any of these things that these individuals put their energy towards. No, it is the people in your neighborhood that you surround yourself with. This guy, despite being an activist that got national news attention, for whatever reason, he was still in the hood. He couldn't get out of the hood. Still there. 10, 11 years later. And he ultimately ended up losing his life, likely as a result of probably some neighborhood dispute. I don't know. Right?
Hood activity.
Exactly all the details behind it, but I'm just saying, just based off statistics, statistically speaking, I think we can all kind of guess probably what happened here, right? That he probably was living a life that he should not have been living. He didn't get out the hood. He didn't get out the ghetto. And it turns out that a police officer, a white police officer, was not who he should have been afraid of, right? It's not who he should have been protesting against. Mm-hmm. It should have been, again, the violent criminals that probably plagued that neighborhood, right? That plagued that area. Certainly, right? So, you know, again, this is a tragic story in my opinion.
I agree with Greg. Shout out to Greg. That is a black conservative perspective. And I agree. And more needs to be done. More needs to be said about One of the problems I think we realize, and we see it, but I don't think we really realize it, is that there's not a lot of personal responsibility being doled out in these situations. There's not a lot of personal responsibility. Like, I am responsible for my outcomes, because we keep talking about these communities and neighborhoods and groups of people, but each of those groups of people, all those communities are made up of people, individual people who have the free will to make choices, whether that be to clean up my community, run an after school program, help Ms. Jenkins with her groceries, or pull out the switches, rob, steal, and add chaos and mayhem. And these are personal responsibilities. I think because we look at these macros so often, it's very easy to think and forget that there are individuals involved in here, and those individuals need to be held accountable. So that was just something I noticed, but I appreciate y'all. Looks like we've got a good little cadre of people that have jumped into the best live chat on the internet. Thank you so much. When the criminal is the victim and the actual victim is not a victim, like calling good evil and evil good, and woe be to those that do that. Shout out to Shelby for sure. All right, my friend Decoy Voice, he did another video. I had 2 more decoys, but we brought in the one with the swift boat getting taken out. So let's bring this one in.
We're officially in the era of idiots going to sporting events and somehow forgetting they're surrounded by 4K cameras, and in an instant, completely ruining their reputation forever. As this viral video from the Marlins-Phillies game shows Harrison Bader's home run getting snatched up by this fan.
Wow.
But as this goes viral, it just gets worse for her, as it doesn't seem she ever had the ball, where everybody in the stands started hating her.
Okay, real quick. The dad is wrong for giving that woman the ball. It was his son's 10th birthday. The dad had no reason. There was no reason for dad to give that ball to that woman. That woman was every bit of wrong. So I think we already got that part right. She was just wrong, period. Everything's wrong, from her hair color to everything. She's just wrong. So we're going to put her over on the side. The dad was wrong for doing that. However, the goodwill that the Phillies and the Marlins showed that boy, I'm like, dog, as milquetoast as that dad was, his milquetoastness brought about a lot of good stuff for that young boy. So I'm conflicted, and let me know in the chat what you think. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. We'll watch it again. I'll try not to interrupt it a lot, but the dad was wrong for giving that woman the ball, but think about all the good stuff that came because of it. I don't know how to deal with it. Sorry.
She ever had the ball, where everybody in the stands started hating her.
He took it from a little kid, bro. Oh.
As she flaunts her home run ball, flipping everybody off, not knowing that if you simply Google search Phillies right now, it's all outrage about her, with the reactions being about her personality, speculating on her likely political affiliations, with some people even criticizing the dad's reaction.
I agree.
Honestly, it wouldn't be the best look for the father to tell the lady to F off, but it's kind of the right message for your kid to see at a sporting event. Winning is winning, you got the ball, and acting like a Karen shouldn't change the result. Although this may be asking a bit much from this guy. But it all worked out in the end, as the home team Miami Marlins tried to make it right.
That's dope. Shout out.
But even better, the home run hitter Harrison Bader came out to give him a signed bat.
Sorry you didn't get a ball, but I'm gonna sign a bat for you instead, alright?
Double shout out.
Amazing.
To which the memes are undefeated, saying she wants the bat too. But on top of all of it, the CEO of Camping World saw this and said he wanted to send them to the World Series and give them an RV. So the dad being polite was probably the better move after all, as a home run ball on your birthday is special, but nothing compared to meeting the player in person, getting an autographed bat, free tickets to the World Series, and an RV probably priced at over $50,000, with the best prize being sweet revenge.
Oh no, gosh, I'm so conflicted, y'all. Help me out. Help me out here. Oh, I think the dad was still wrong, but my gosh, I didn't know about the World Series tickets. Dog. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. She did not get the bat. It's a meme. They were just being funny. Yo, I'm conflicted. I think the dad was wrong for giving her that ball, man. But God clearly wanted to show, because again, the kindness of these people came because of the wickedness of this woman. So the kindness of the Phillies, I don't even know the hitter, the kindness of him, the kindness of the Marlins. And now this guy, yo, I'm still conflicted because I would not have given the ball. I would have told that woman to go have every seat that she can get. It would have never. Now, granted, and then that being the case, I would never have gotten all these great things for my kid. I'm conflicted. I don't want to be conflicted.
As the internet immediately demanded justice over this. And I don't like it, but it appears her info is already out there. Now, I do think she deserves some shame, but only from the people that already knew her in real life, not from the collective insanity that is the internet. As for all we know, they got it wrong, and some innocent lady has all her socials getting blasted for simply having a similar haircut. So if this lady is smart, she's just gotta hunker down for the next month and just wait for it to pass. But with her attitude, I don't imagine she'll be able to manage that. And as I said in the last video featuring an adult stealing sports memorabilia from a kid,
I forgot about that
there was
one.
some fake posts not from the actual guy. But when the CEO finally did come up to clarify his side, it was only marginally better than the fake rage bait initially spread. As once you're caught in 4K, there's no explaining your way out of it. The best you can do is wait for the internet's ADHD to kick in and find the next thing to laugh at. But most importantly, take this moment to reflect as to why this is happening. And maybe don't steal meaningless sports memorabilia from a boy. But I'm thinking with that haircut, taking the ball from him was more metaphorical than anything. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.
Shout out to Decoy Voice. I thought that was great. Yeah. Yeah, the dad was thrown off, but I'm sorry. I would not have given that ball. If that was my daughter's 10th birthday and I had ran over there and got that home run ball and got that for her birthday, you understand my baby's leaving with that ball. Now that woman, she might not leave. She might leave from her seat as I throw her out of the stand, but I'm leaving with that ball. That's just the truth of the matter. That being said, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. But I'm wondering this, like, I want to just ask y'all this. Remember the guy that was having an extramarital affair and he got caught on the kiss cam at the Coldplay? Was it Coldplay? At that concert? Remember that? I don't remember the name of the group. But they drugged that dude. I mean, he lost his job within 72 hours. Why is that not happening to this woman? We don't know her name. We don't know her job. I mean, that man's stuff was being posted on the news. That's how bad it was. But we don't know what this woman did. We don't know if she's a librarian or, works at Whole Foods. We don't know. Like, why is that? Is there a double standard? And I think what she did was far worse. And then remember the guy that took the hat from the kid at the tennis tournament. That was a guy. He took it from a kid. We knew everything about that guy within 24 hours. We know nothing about this woman. Nothing. I just think that's very interesting. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way to handle it, but it just seems very interesting to me that when men do things like that, a man is having an affair and he gets caught on the kiss cam. The man steals the signed hat from the kid at the tennis tournament. We know about all of their details within a short amount of time. But this woman goes over there and expresses herself in 4K foolishness. And mind you, she continued because she berated everybody, gave them the finger, went to other people, yelled at them. So it wasn't just a one-off. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems weird. Like, why do we know everything about the CEO, the president, founder of astronomy? I think it was the name of the company, but we don't know anything about her. And has she been fired? Has she been held accountable for this? I don't know. All right, I got the last one on Decoy Voice. Actually, I'm sorry, I got one more from Paralegal Institute. talking about Karen Bass. Let me do that one real quick. Shout out to everybody. I was just going through some of the videos that I had planned to do reactions to, and just said I would do them tonight as a live stream. I hadn't done a live stream in a while, and thought it would be fun to tap in with you all. So thank you so much for tapping in. Please make sure you hit the like button. Jump into the best live channel on the internet. Let's get it going. Here we go.
We will not allow the Supreme Court or anyone to divide us.
Outrage and a promise to fight back. The message from LA
They
Mayor
always fight.
Karen Bass
They always
after the
fight.
country's highest court's decision allowing federal agents to continue sweeping immigration operations in Los Angeles.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my peepo. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to talk about your girl, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. She is having something of a conniption fit, y'all, because the Supreme Court has ruled that ICE and immigration officials can detain people on the basis of how they look, the language they speak, and the type of job that they do. So that's the TLDR. You know, that's the takeaway of the ruling. And Karen Bass is, of course, the mayor of Los Angeles, where there has been a lot of ICE activity. And it seems like every time something like this happens, she comes out, finds the closest microphone, and starts screaming. And, you know, frankly, I can understand her frustration, right? Because she's trying to be a mayor of a city. She's trying to help people feel like they can move around, but she has no power to stop the federal government. She wants to have a sanctuary city where people who are in the country without permission can partake in everyday American life without problems. And the Supreme Court ruling from yesterday basically says, nah, not so much. So what we're going to do today, y'all, we're going to take a look at Karen Bass losing her marbles over this recent ruling. But as we do, y'all, I want you to ask yourself this question. This is an important question. Usually we think people should not be able to be stopped and detained by police or law enforcement based on their race. Okay. Now this most recent ruling doesn't say that law enforcement can. It doesn't give them the permission to do that. But it's very close to that. Okay. It's very close. Like, hey, if they look Latino, if they're speaking Spanish, if they're outside of a Home Depot, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I want you to ask yourself the question, do you agree with that decision? We know Karen Bass doesn't, and in this video, you're going to hear her flip out over just that. Let's get into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take...
I don't want to take away from his advertisement, because I know he works hard on those. So I don't want to take away from those. But yeah, I think that's a great question. So let's see how it all pans out. Shout out. Let's get at it. Let's get active.
The nation's highest court sides with the Trump administration. Another big story today, clearing the way for federal agents to carry out sweeping immigration enforcement again. Welcome to the Fox 11 News at 5 simulcast on our sister station, Fox 11 Plus. I'm Christine Devine. So LA's Mayor Karen Bass stood united with several community leaders outside the Westlake Home Depot today. They were condemning the Supreme Court's decision. That's where we find Fox 11
outside Home Depot
with the story. Rachel?
Yes, several top LA city leaders stood outside this very Home Depot in Westlake. A reminder, it's one of several stores that was targeted by federal agents earlier this month and last month. We also know, though, after today's big Supreme Court ruling, it's prompting more concerns and fears about these raids continuing.
We will not allow the Supreme Court or anyone to divide us.
Outrage and a promise to fight back. The message from LA Mayor Karen Bass after the country's highest court's decision allowing federal agents to continue sweeping immigration operations in Los Angeles using race or language as a basis to stop people.
Law enforcement cannot racially profile and discriminate against Latinos, against Angelenos based on their race.
From Home Depots to car washes. Over the last 3 months, the federal immigration raids in the LA area have made some fearful to continue or find work.
Approximately 247 car wash workers have disappeared
from our communities. This is just unacceptable.
It's a daily fear in our community. People aren't going to church, aren't going to work in many cases.
Ron Gochez, a community organizer and teacher in South Los Angeles, says after Monday's ruling, he plans to continue conducting community patrols.
What we try to do is we try to locate ICE activity before they strike so that we can warn our community so they have a chance to defend themselves.
In a social media...
That's why this happens. That's why this happens. Instead of saying, hey, we have people in our community that are not, he looks like he's probably a law-abiding citizen. That gentleman looks like he's probably law-abiding. He probably is here legally or maybe born here, whatever. But instead of saying, hey, we have to follow the law, you can't just be here and not be legal and not have go through the proper channels, you are allowing them to continue. So he doesn't show compassion. That's not showing compassion to those persons, to allow them to continue to break the law. Sir, you are a complete and utter disappointment. Let's go.
Post, the Department of Homeland Security calling the Supreme Court's decision a victory, adding DHS will continue to arrest and remove the criminal illegal aliens that the mayor of LA is protecting.
Serious, bro?
But top city leaders say they're not backing down despite Monday's decision.
From the beginning, we have known that Los Angeles has been used as a test case for total dominance and unchecked power by the federal government.
And earlier today, Mayor Bass also adding, as she says, she has taken several steps in response to all this. As one example, she said she filed a Freedom of Information request to get more answers from the federal government as to where and why people are being taken away. We're live in Westlake. Rachel Aragon, back to you.
Now, the last time that Karen Bass flipped out was when the ICE official showed up outside of a Gavin Newsom press conference. He's talking about how California is going to retaliate against Texas with its own redistricting. And the immigration official showed up outside and started arresting people, causing both a meltdown by Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass.
But the swift arrival of Mayor Bass with her own answer. Mayor Bass, you're live on NBC4 right now. You do not believe that this just happened to be a coincidence?
There is no way this was a coincidence. This was widely publicized that the governor and many of our other elected officials were having a press conference here to talk about redistricting, and they decided they were going to come and thumb their nose in front of the governor's face.
And she was joined by leading Democrats on Capitol Hill who were here to support Newsom's plan.
It's not a coincidence. I mean, Trump is all about spectacle. He's trying to intimidate. But guess what? Californians don't get intimidated.
Are they here to arrest the governor and the senators? I'm sure Trump would like to. And he seems to regard these ICE agents as his own personal political police.
Border Patrol's Greg Bovino, speaking directly to NBC4 Investigates, says the man they cuffed today and took away was done so because he was in this country illegally. No matter, according to Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
And we know that you're trying to somehow indicate that you're saving other Californians from all of those that you have targeted. Stay out of here. We don't want you.
Maxine Waters, nobody wants you. You don't speak on behalf of anybody, ma'am.
Inside the rally today, we're made aware of the mobilization of immigration agents outside the news conference in the Democracy Plaza. I asked the governor about that during a press conference after the rally.
Could you speak to the ICE action outside the news conference?
It's pretty sick and pathetic. And it just said everything you need to know, the setting that we're under. That they chose the time, manner, and place to send their district director outside right when we're about to have this press conference. Said everything you know about Donald Trump's America. Wake up, America. Wake up. You will not have a country if he rigs this election. You will have a president who will be running for a third term. Mark my word. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around. The rules do not apply to him. The most corrupt president in history. It's a lawless president. Wake up, America. Wake up to what's going on.
So, y'all, I guess there's two questions here. One is Karen Bass's reaction, her form, her style. Again, there's nothing she can do, right? She can do nothing, especially now that the Supreme Court has ruled against her and her her side and the way that she wants things to be, it's over. You know, I mean, the court case continues in the appeals court, so maybe they get some relief that way once the case is finally heard. But for now, the Trump administration can move forward with their mass deportation efforts, and there's nothing that the local or state officials can do. So I guess one question is, do you agree with the Supreme Court? Do you agree with being able to stop people, detain them, and question them based on their appearance to be Latino, based on them speaking Spanish, and based on the fact that they're working certain types of jobs? That's one question. Let me know down in the comments. And then two, how do you rate Karen Bass's reaction? I mean, I think she's trying to show outrage. I think she's trying to channel the emotional state of a lot of her constituents. And maybe she is personally offended by all this as well, or professionally. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text.
All right, what do you think? What do y'all think? I think Karen Bass I think Trump, in my opinion, I'll talk about what I think Trump is doing. I think Trump is putting these leaders, Pritzker, Newsom, Brandon Johnson, Karen Bass, and others in a position where they are, in fact, defending the undefendable. You're defending people. Sure, we can say that these people need to get due process. I'm not arguing that they don't get due process. What I am arguing, however, is that you are clamoring, you are fighting for the rights of people that are criminals, that are breaking the law above, and he's putting them in a position where they're fighting against the wants of their constituents. Because Californians, for the most part, are not criminals. Californians want law and order. They want things to work well. Chicagoans, the exact same thing. People in Baltimore and DC, they want the things to work correctly and be lawful. That's what most people want. Most people don't want to not be able to walk outside their homes, in their communities. That's not what people want. They don't want lawlessness and law breaking at wholesale levels. They don't want that. What they want is for things to work well and to be lawful. So what we have here, Trump has now set up a scenario where these leaders, especially, it does seem odd that both governors, Pritzker and Newsom, are trying to run for president. And now they're fighting against Trump, who's not going to run for president. But what they're fighting against is against this policy of trying to provide law and order. I think they're in a bad spot. I think they're in a pickle. Because otherwise they have to agree with Trump and work with Trump. And we saw what happened with the mayor of DC, who said, yeah, this thing did work. Look how the Democrats jumped on her head. So we have that scenario. Or you could keep fighting Pritzker, or you could keep fighting Newsom against it, and he's still going to probably come through and do what he's going to do. He'll start with the ICE agents, and if that works well, or doesn't work well, please forgive me, he might roll in some others, border and customs, then roll in the National Guard. I think that's what he's doing. But let me know what y'all think, for real. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. You can, of course, comment down below or in the comment section for sure. All right, for those people that jumped in, this is the last one I had, and it is, it's Decoy Voice again. Shout out to my brother, Decoy Voice. And all the videos that I'm showing tonight, I was just going to do a reaction to them and record it. I just said I would go ahead and have y'all come on and we'll just look at them together. All these videos, the links are down in the description. So jump into the description if you want to check any of these out or you want to support. I really would appreciate you supporting a Black conservative perspective, the Paralegal Institute and Decoy Voice. They're excellent content creators. They make fantastic content, and I think it'd be good for them to jump in, or you to jump in and support what they're doing. All right, this is the last one. It's short.
Attack on the train in Charlotte was an absolute tragedy that sadly was avoidable. As first, the media tried to outright ignore it, but now they're blaming everything but the murderer, ensuring this will happen again. As a full video is too hard to watch, where Ukrainian war refugee Irina Zarutska gets off her shift from a pizzeria only to be randomly murdered by this man. And for days, the mainstream media just pretended it didn't happen. But after the video went viral, their reporting tried to make it about MAGA, stating, MAGA influencers are drawing repeated attention to violent attacks, also blaming the rising number of surveillance cameras in public spaces, since the videos are easily shared or leaked, creating a visual counterpoint to how crime is in fact decreasing. And in that insane Axios article, these contradictory statements are back to back, saying all reporting says crime is down, it's just these videos that are causing people to question our bogus stats. But then you see CNN coming in, leading with the light rail, and how she's a Ukrainian refugee, not the actual murderer, known for his long criminal history, where they don't even refer to as a killing or attack, just Zarutska's death. And how their mayor doesn't want to villainize the murderer as the unhoused that struggle with mental health, or more frequently, the victims themselves. With her other statement being, "We will never arrest our way out of homelessness and mental health." Capping it off with her worst take, thanking her media partners for not sharing the footage, saying she's heartbroken, then rambling about what safety looks like in her city. Safety in Charlotte starts with her resignation, as the only response should be, how was an insane individual like this allowed to walk our streets after accruing a long criminal history like his? Talking about MAGA influencers, homeless outreach, and video reposts do absolutely nothing to protect the citizens from murderers, with the local media reporting how the judge ordered the accused killer to undergo a competency evaluation, as he has past convictions for armed robbery, felony larceny, and much more, with everybody wondering what judge would let an individual like this free, and should they be held equally accountable for the murder. And this is unconfirmed, so for now I'll blur it, but it seems the original appointed judge hasn't even passed their bar exam, as they're simultaneously the director of Second Chance Services, which would be a major conflict of interest if the judge in charge of sentencing homeless criminals was overturning their convictions to send them to a mental health clinic that she was the director of. I think it's a stretch to try to convict her in connection with the killing, but I definitely think if she's sacrificing public safety to funnel herself taxpayer funds, she needs to be charged with something. But they can't get away with it without the assistance of the media, where CNN's fluff piece about murder is concluded with large blocks of text saying how proud the police chief is on their decreasing crime rates. People pointing out how the AP seems to have largely ignored the story, with the New York Times doing the same, selective reporting. And even left-wing Wikipedia is looking to delete the entire article regarding the murder. It's insane to think if Elon never purchased X, we likely wouldn't even know about this story. But now that we do, it's also uncovering how liberal policies not only allowed it to occur, but is actually actively trying to make it more common. As if you're wondering why nobody stepped in to try to save her, New York City's case against Daniel Penny is the perfect example why people won't step in. And a year after that, NYC definitely saw the effects of this. And in case you haven't seen that video, the brief synopsis is, a popular TikTok influencer randomly got attacked in the streets of New York City. Her story trended online, and dozens of girls talked about being attacked by the same man, only to find that he has a history of recording himself attacking women. He gets arrested, but is immediately let out. But the worst part is, there was more than one attacker with that same exact description, with the NYPD actively trying to make it as difficult as possible for these ladies to press charges. And a year after that, nothing has changed in New York City.
I had to get off the train, past my stop, because there was a guy who was following me from car to car. New York City is not safe. It's not safe for women, okay?
Except that their likely new mayor will only make it worse.
The jail population of Rikers has increased since Eric Adams has come into office. We know that we can reduce that jail population to less than 4,000. Vital City had an article about a number of different proposals that could reduce it to 3,700.
But as long as the media will write articles championing how crime rates are down, idiots will keep leaning into this ideology that will ultimately lead to their demise. As we know, there is basically one specific demographic that the Democrats still completely own, that sadly seems to be the same group that suffers the most. So even when President Trump responds to this murder, trying to prevent it from happening again.
There was also a horrible killing recently in Charlotte, I talked about, and so many others, and we're going to get to the end of it, and You know, when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions. Cashless bail started a wave in our country where a killer kills somebody and is out on the street by the afternoon. In many cases, going out and killing again.
CNN can't help but again make it about race.
Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime. We heard President Trump asked about it yesterday when he was heading home from New York City. He didn't seem to know much about it. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist, stoking fear of African Americans because this man attacked a white woman.
Why can't CNN simply come out and say, hey, murder is bad? End of sentence. And stop trying to editorialize everything as, yes, that attack was bad, but let's talk about the real issue, racist MAGA. When the actual issue should be, why wasn't this guy locked up long ago? And should the judges that refuse to follow through with the law be held accountable for their future crimes? So let me know what you think in the comments. With these stories, I don't necessarily want to promote anything except a genuine discussion on how to fix this.
Wow. Shout out to Decoy Voice. I don't know what to say. I think that's a fantastic ending to this and something I think we need to look at and pray about. I'm not going to show any videos, any more clips or anything of that nature. I appreciate y'all rocking with me tonight. Thank you to everybody who jumped into the most electrifying live chat on the internet. Please make sure you comment on the video. Please let me know what you thought. Give me some ideas. I will be celebrating 4 years here on YouTube on Saturday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow I have a video. Tomorrow we'll be doing a live stream reading some of the most ridiculous Umar Johnson defense comments from our comment section. We'll be doing that for sure. And I'm looking forward to rock with y'all. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for liking videos and commenting and adding your voice to this conversation. It helps out a whole lot and it does not go unrecognized. So thank you all so much. I just heard Lady Dear Woke Christian open up the garage, so I need to go see my bride. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. The Lord bless you and keep you, Jason. Thank you so much, Copeland. I appreciate you. And Keith, thank you very much as well. Welcome to all the new members of the J-Whip podcast family. Thank you so much to our thank you so much again to West Virginia for the very kind super. Thank you so much, Willie Doc, my brother, for the very kind super, and Gene Lee for dropping those 5 memberships earlier as well. Thank you, each of y'all. I really do appreciate it. You all mean a lot to me. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm gonna get ready to bug out of here. So everybody have a blessed rest of the day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the J-Whip podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.